Sean O'Malley, who is now retired from the Boston Archdiocese. We saw many of the cardinal electors who were actually in a position over St. Peter's Square, who are also waiting for the new pope to emerge. Of course, he went to the Room of Tears to be clothed. We saw the three papal iconic cassocks in three different sizes. One of them he will have on, and then pretty soon we will see the new Bishop of Rome, the new Pope. It's been a whirlwind time here of tears of saying goodbye to Pope Francis, and now this incredible moment of joy to welcome a new Pope. Back to you guys.
Lauren, we can hear it in your voice, the excitement, and I think you best described the crowd. Electrifying. It certainly is. Lauren Green, live there in Rome for us. John, what a sight this is.
You know, in terms of how many people you could fit into St. Peter's Square and the Via della Concezione that leads up to it, I was there for the announcement of Benedict back in 2005, and I can tell you it's an awful lot of people. And why don't we listen in for a moment here to the celebration going on there in St. Peter's Square as we await the arrival of the new Pope there on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica that you see in the right-hand side of your screen. Let's listen in.
Breaking news. 97.1, covering it live.
Well, you've been hearing the live coverage here with Ryan Wiggins anchoring the announcement of the new Pope. We are waiting to find out who that new Pope might be. As has been described, the crowd of people at the Vatican, all eyes centered on this balcony where the Pope will walk out, and the world will then know the direction the Catholic Church has chosen to move in. I think there's a lot of political, not in the American Republican Democrat sense. There's a lot of political implications by who this group of cardinals came together and chose to represent and to fill this very, very important role in the Catholic Church. The Vatican, the courtyard there is just absolutely jam-packed with people. There's an incredible amount of pomp and circumstance and joy surrounding this event. And for many, we know there are many of you listening out there right now who are very excited about this announcement from the Vatican City. The local time at the Vatican right now is 7:07 p.m. And this is a historic moment. Of course, for those of you who are a part of the Catholic Church, there's a lot of gravity that comes with the selection of the Pope, and there will be lots to discuss after we know the name. Brad, can you tell right now if they're doing coverage of it? Because we have a lot of visuals. We're getting live coverage directly from Fox News, as we are St. Louis's Fox News affiliate here in St. Louis. Let's go back to and listen to the live coverage there from the Fox News anchors. Stick with us.
7 p.m. Eastern time, just over 1 hour ago, with the appearance of the white smoke, John. And now it's generally about an hour later that we expect a cardinal to step out on the balcony to announce that we have a new pope. there at St. Peter's Basilica, the cardinal will then read the winner's birth name in Latin and then reveal the name that he has chosen to be called. The new pontiff is then expected to appear, as has happened in the past, immediately following on the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square. So all that could be happening any moment now, John.
Well, as Lauren Green was saying, that the crowd is voicing names of people who they believe may have been the lucky person who was elected. But what I think we could say with not absolute certainty, but I think we could say pretty certainly, is that it was one of the 133 people who were in that conclave. Let's go to our senior correspondent, Benjamin Hall, and our theologian, Jonathan Morris, there in Rome. Boy, what a scene there in St. Peter's Square, Benjamin.
Absolutely. I mean, we feel it here in Rome. We can hear the scenes. We can hear the shouts from St. Peter's Square. And, you know, what I'm feeling really are two different stories here. You have the human element. You have the robes and the Vatican. You have the secrecy and you have the tradition and the Swiss Guard. But the other element here, perhaps the most important one, is the spiritual element. And that is the one that really will be affected as we look over the coming years under this Pope. And I've got Jonathan with me at the moment. And, you know, I think it is fair to say that the church has been somewhat divided recently, between the progressive and the conservative. And I wonder if a new Pope comes in, sort of how quickly he can change the direction of the church. Does he, if he is a conservative, can he come in, and the way President Trump has executive orders, can he come in and make big changes, pull back on some of the progressive decisions that Pope Francis made, or is it a slower go?
Yeah, no pope can change the teachings of Jesus Christ, Benjamin. Certainly he can change the vision for how to lead the church and choosing priorities. But in the end, despite our differences, there's one pope. And when I'm seeing these people jumping up and down for joy, I'm so relieved. Yes, there were talks about more schisms in the church because Pope Francis was taking the church in one direction that others did not like. When you look out at this crowd of people from every nation, from every land, speaking every language you can imagine, they are not rooting for their candidate. They're thanking God that they have someone who they can look to and be inspired by to find their own path to God.
Yeah, and every nation from around the world. And I wonder how much the church has changed over the last 50 years. It's a much more global church. 3/4 of all Catholics are in the South, Latin America, Africa, Asia. How has that changed the church? I know in the teachings it will be the same, but It is a different church as a result.
It is, and it's also a different papacy. Not too long ago, just maybe 75 years ago, 100 years ago, the Pope was not the global figure that he is today from a geopolitical and also just from a social media and media perspective. I mean, to think that Pope Francis had his own Twitter account and he had millions and millions of people immediately sign up, and so he could communicate, and he had to communicate with immediacy because the world changes so quickly because communication is instantaneous. And so that's another weight on the shoulders of this Pope. It used to be that the Pope stayed in the Vatican, did not travel, and was more of a figurehead and was called to certainly defend the deposit of the faith, as Catholics refer to it. In other words, the teachings of Jesus Christ passed down through the scripture and through sacred tradition. But he was not the global figure that he is today. That has all changed.
And in fact, you've seen some of the last popes have real geopolitical influence. I mean, John Paul II, for example, was the first one to push back against the Soviets and communism. And then, you know, Pope Francis as well really was involved in the Middle East. He was in Mosul just after they'd taken it back from ISIS. And you look at the relationship the church has had with China. And is the Pope now a really geopolitical figure? Does he get involved in peace deals and trying to bring countries together? Is that a new role for the Pope over the last 50 years?
It is. The Catholic Church has a massive department for diplomacy, and they have ambassadors that are spread throughout the world, and they're independent. And many nations who cannot get along with people with whom they're in conflict, they look to these. Whoop! There we go. Here we go.
We'll see first.
Here we are, Miss.
The Cardinal Proto-Deacon. And he's smiling.
He's smiling. He will give us the announcement. Here we are. It's suspense.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus papam. Habemus papam. Eminentissimum, ac reverendissimum Dominum, Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost, qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem decimum quartum.
So the Pope is Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who's taken the name of Leo XIV, Pope Leo XIV. Cardinal Prevost is an American, and he spent most of his ministry in Latin America and in Peru and also in Paraguay. And he's an Augustinian father. He was the provincial in Latin America, and then became the Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru. And he then is also he became the Superior General of the Augustinian Fathers as well. He's now he's been the prefect of the dicastery for bishops.
We see the cardinal electors there appearing on the balcony there as well, with this joy and their smiles on their face.
A great joy indeed, and well, it wasn't one of those fabulous things, so to say. What a great joy!
It's a wonderful joy, and he's from Chicago,
yes,
Illinois.
Chicago.
Okay,
An American.
An American.
Yes.
And
an American. I think that's a historic moment
for sure.
Truly historic.
And you can see all the cardinals on the different
Yes.
balconies there. For our radio listeners, you may not be able to see this, of course, but they're appearing on all the balconies to the left and right of the central balcony there. All of them clearly standing out with their red vestments and smiles, and
waiting to again for all of us to greet this new pope as well,
The new Pope.
which now we know his name.
Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, Augustinian,
Amazing.
and has served as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. A native of Chicago, Illinois, in the United States.
Wow. And so, as we said before, you saw all the flags and everything out in the
Yes.
square, and now all the Americans are holding their flags.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a historic
and the
moment. Who would have
Peruvians
imagined?
too, I'm sure. He
It's-
spent
that's a-
most of his ministry in Peru.
Yeah, and that's a special thing, So he has a connection with
Missionary
multiple.
experience
Exactly.
and this
Exactly.
continuation of evangelization
Mhm.
mission of the church.
The priority, yeah. So you can see still they're like little pockets of red where all the cardinals are standing on the balconies.
And from our Vati drone footage, and seeing it from above there, it's a unique view, perched above in front of the facade and looking down at them as they're on the balconies there, awaiting now as the new Pope, as we mentioned there, Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, and Pope Leo
XIV.
the 14th.
Pope Leo the
Pope Leo
Yes.
the 14th.
The 14th.
Hmm.
And of course, his Leo XIII was the great social reforming pope
Mhm.
for
He
us.
was the great social reformer.
Yeah, and he died in 1903, so still fairly recent in the grand scheme of
Was
things.
Pope Leo the one with Rerum Novarum?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, good
then-
memory.
yes.
From my seminary.
And then his successors wrote other encyclicals every 40 years afterwards.
So he started like a
on the
train.
social- yes, and it's really one of the constitutions of Catholic social ministry and
And
Catholic
probably I
social
would say
doctrine.
a pope needed for our times with all the social challenges the world
Yes,
has
yes.
today.
Yes.
Mhm.
And he's, relatively young, 69 years old, born on the 14th of September, 1955, as you mentioned, in Chicago, Illinois. And so 69.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Father Paul, as you were just saying, I agree. And maybe Father Bob, you can really stress this point because you work in social humanitarian. Exactly.
Integral human development.
This is an important aspect of the church.
The Catholic social teaching I think is important.
Very.
And it's often called the untold story of the church, or perhaps the hidden secret of the church. And it has so much, and there's a lot of development.
And it was one of the needs discussed by the cardinals during the congregations this last week, too. So.
Exactly.
Oh, they're receiving
there's an American flag.
There. People are thrilled about this.
Yeah, and there's quite a number of American students. Dr. O'Donnell was here, and he was going to be in the square with his American students. So you can imagine them cheering.
Yes,
it'll be a treat for them, indeed. Yes.
I can imagine the scene. The house I live behind is the Basilica of St. Augustine, where we have also the tomb of St. Monica.
Yes.
So that's
beautiful
a great
church
day for all the Augustinians.
Yes.
Yeah, very special day.
Yes.
Indeed, he. Looking at his biography going back to more recent history, 1999, he was elected the provincial prior of the Mother of Good Counsel province in Chicago of the Augustinians, and after 2.5 years, the Ordinary General Chapter elected him Prior General of the Order of the OSAs. Ministry again entrusted to him in 2007 at their Ordinary General Chapter. And I'm reading here, in October 2013, he returned to his province of Chicago to serve as teacher of the professed and provincial. He served as, and then let's see his roles there. In 3rd of November 2014, when Pope Francis appointed him apostolic minister of the Diocese of Chiclayo in Peru, where he served many years, and he was made a bishop there, and served there for many years. And then in March 2018, he became second vice president of the Peruvian Episcopal Conference. So working as a missionary there, missionary bishop as well in Peru. Here we see these beautiful shots of the Vati drone there of the same.
Well, and there we have the big news, perhaps news that many of us were not expecting, that we have the first American Pope in history. The Pope is Cardinal Robert Prevost, and he's taken the name Leo XIV. He is from Chicago. He was made a cardinal by Pope Francis himself. He is considered to be somewhat aligned with Pope Francis. On a personal level, he got a BA in Science and Maths from Villanova. He is 69, which is considered perhaps quite young for a Pope to be named. So this certainly is something that many people were not expecting. And Jonathan, I'm going to pass it over to you and say, what do you make of this news? What do you make of Pope Leo XIV?
An American Pope. Can you believe it? Can you believe it, Benjamin? Yes, he was among the names that we've talked about. I know, and FoxNews.com has done some work introducing him to the American people in the last week or so. But there were two possible American names. It was Cardinal Robert Prevost and Cardinal Timothy Dolan. And Cardinal Prevost has been somewhat of an enigma even to the American cardinals themselves, because he has spent most of his ecclesiastical career or ministry serving the people in Peru as a bishop, as a priest, as an Augustinian religious. Listen to this, though, guys, just to show you how American he is. Born in Chicago, studied at Villanova University. There's going to be some parties going on at Villanova today. I can guarantee you that. But Cardinal Prevost was called by Pope Francis to lead a very important department, what's called a dicastery, for the dicastery of bishops. And he stayed very discreet. He did not get involved in any controversies in terms of what's going on in the world. He was very quiet. And we talked earlier about maybe having a quiet pope. He's been a rather quiet leader in a very important Vatican department. I think we have a pope approaching right now.
Of the Basilica.
Very special moment.
Very special moment.
And here
he is.
There he is, Cardinal.
And the applause going up, the greeting, the waving.
Big smiles. How amazing.
How amazing.
And Dr. Elizabeth was also talking about the symbolism of the red that he's wearing. You know, it is a sacrificial role, and that is the symbol of the cloth that he's wearing right now.
And we see this beautiful close-up view from the side there, at the same level as the loggia. Pope Leo the 14th.
Pope Leo the 14th.
Amazing. Smiling.
Smiling.
And
Pope, yeah.
you can see who wouldn't be taken by the moment. And
I think going through his mind, you know, the weight of this responsibility.
Oh, yeah. You can see it on his face.
You can see it on his face.
Amazing.
After this, you're never the same person.
No.
And we're hearing the bands below, the mutual salute of the anthems, the hymns, you know, Vatican hymn and the Italian national anthem, as we do traditionally at the Easter and Christmas, as we've mentioned.
And after this, now Pope Leo the 14th, he will give a greeting and impart his first apostolic blessing, the Urbi et Orbi, to the city and to the whole world.
So that blessing extends to everyone who is watching, everyone who is listening, your family, wherever you are. It's a great moment to prepare ourselves for this faith.
La pace sia con tutti voi. La pace sia con tutti voi. Fratelli, sorelle carissimi, questo è il primo saluto del Cristo risorto, il buon pastore che ha dato la vita per il gregge di Dio. Anch'io vorrei che questo saluto di pace entrasse nel vostro cuore, raggiungesse le vostre famiglie, a tutte le persone, ovunque siano, a tutti i popoli, a tutta la terra. La pace sia con voi.
We're just hearing the first words of Pope Leo XIV. As he continues, we'll provide a summary here in just a moment as we listen to his words. He's asked everyone to, brothers.
Questa è la pace di Cristo risorto.
This is the peace
Una
of the risen
pace
Christ.
disarmata e una pace disarmante,
A peace
umile
that is
e
disarming and
perseverante.
humble and persevering.
Proviene da Dio,
It comes from
Dio
God.
che ci ama a tutti
God who loves all of us
incondizionalmente.
without any limits and conditions.
Ancora conserviamo nei nostri orecchi
And
quella voce debole ma sempre
And we still have
coraggiosa
the
di
sound in our
Papa
ears of that,
Francesco,
the weak
che
voice of Pope
benediva
Francis,
Roma.
who was blessing Rome here. We have that fresh in our minds, in our hearts, in our ears, hearing his
Il
voice.
Papa che benediva Roma,
The Pope who was blessing
dava la sua
Rome,
benedizione al mondo
giving his blessing
intero,
to the world
quella mattina del giorno di Pasqua.
on that morning, on that day of Easter Sunday.
Consentitemi di dar seguito a quella stessa
Allow me
benedizione.
to continue
Dio
that
ci vuole
same
bene.
blessing.
Dio vi ama tutti.
God loves
E il
everyone.
male non prevarrà.
Evil will not
Siamo
prevail.
tutti nelle mani di
We are
Dio.
all in the hands of God.
Pertanto, senza paura,
So without fear,
uniti,
united,
mano nella mano con Dio
hand in
e tra
hand,
di noi,
with God and among
andiamo
ourselves,
avanti.
we go forward.
Siamo discepoli di Cristo.
We are disciples of Christ.
Cristo ci precede.
Christ goes before us.
Il mondo ha bisogno della sua luce.
The world needs his light.
L'umanità necessita di lui come
Humanity
il ponte
needs
per
him.
essere raggiunta da Dio e dal suo amore.
But as the bridge between God and his love,
Aiutateci anche voi, poi gli uni gli altri, a costruire i ponti
may we all
con il
build
dialogo, con
bridges
l'incontro,
with dialogue and
unendoci
encounter,
tutti per essere un solo
so that we
popolo,
can all be
sempre in pace.
one people, all in peace.
Grazie a Papa Francesco.
Thank you, Pope Francis, for all you've done. We're hearing the first words here of Pope Leo XIV, just elected Pope.
Voglio ringraziare anche tutti i confratelli
I'd
cardinali
like to also
che
thank my
hanno
brother cardinals
scelto me
who chose
per essere
me to
successore di
be
Pietro,
the successor
di
of Peter
camminare insieme a voi
and to
come Chiesa
walk along
unita,
with you,
cercando sempre la pace, la giustizia,
searching all together
cercando
for peace and
sempre
justice,
lavorare come uomini
and
e
working
donne
together,
fedeli a Gesù Cristo,
men and women faithful
senza
to Christ,
paura,
without
per
fear,
proclamare il
to
Vangelo,
proclaim the
per
gospel,
essere missionari.
to be missionaries. Pope Leo offering these initial words, which we're just
Sono
translating on the fly here.
Un figlio di Sant'Agostino,
I'm a son of St.
Agostiniano.
Augustine, and I'm an Augustinian
che ha detto: con voi sono cristiano
who
e
said,
per voi vescovo.
with
In
you I am a
questo
Christian,
senso
and for you
possiamo
I am a bishop.
tutti camminare
So
insieme
may we all
verso quella
walk
patria
together towards that,
la quale Dio ci ha preparato.
to the place that God has prepared for us. May we walk
Alla
together, accompany each
Chiesa
other. To the Church
di Roma,
of Rome,
un saluto speciale.
a special greeting. As Bishop of Rome, of course, a special greeting.
Dobbiamo cercare insieme come essere una
We've gotta
chiesa missionaria,
Look at how we can together be a
una
missionary
chiesa che
church,
costruisce i ponti,
a church that builds
dialogo,
bridges,
sempre aperta a ricevere,
that
come
is,
questa
that is always
piazza con
open
le braccia
to
aperte,
receive
a tutti,
everyone,
tutti coloro
just
che
like
hanno
in this
bisogno
square, to receive
della nostra
everyone,
carità,
to welcome
la nostra
everyone,
presenza,
our
il
charity,
dialogo, l'amore.
our dialogue and love.
Y se me permiten también una palabra, un saludo.
And now, a greeting in Spanish. Please allow me here
A
to
todos aquellos, y en modo particular a mi querida diócesis de Chiclayo en el Perú,
So to all of you, but especially to the people of my diocese of Chiclayo in Peru,
donde un pueblo fiel ha acompañado a su obispo, ha compartido su fe y ha dado tanto para
where we
seguir
had such faithful
siendo
people
iglesia
accompanying
fiel de
the bishop,
Jesucristo.
and we had such faithful
A
people
tutti voi,
helping the
fratelli e
bishop.
sorelle di Roma, d'Italia, di tutto il mondo,
To all of you,
vogliamo essere
the
una
people of
chiesa
Rome and of Italy,
sinodale, una chiesa che cammina, una chiesa che
we need
cerca
to be a
sempre la
synodal
pace,
church, a
cerca
church that's a
sempre la
pilgrim,
carità, cerca
that
sempre di
shows
essere
charity
vicino
always.
specialmente a coloro che soffrono.
and especially is charitable to those who are suffering.
Oggi,
today,
il giorno della supplica alla Madonna di Pompei.
Today is the day of praying to the
Nostra
Madonna
Madre
of
Maria
Pompeii.
vuole sempre camminare con noi, stare vicino.
Our Blessed Mother Mary always
aiutarci con
wants
la
to be
sua
close to
intercessione, il
us.
suo amore.
She always
Allora
wants
vorrei
to
pregare
intercede for
insieme a
us
voi.
through her love.
Preghiamo insieme per
So
questa nuova missione,
let us pray
però
together
per
for this
tutta
new
la
mission,
Chiesa, per
for
la pace
all of the
nel
church,
mondo.
for peace in the
Chiediamo
world,
questa grazia speciale
that she
di
will
Maria,
help us get
nostra
give us
madre.
a special grace, our mother.
Ave Maria, piena di grazia,
Hail Mary,
il
full of
Signore è con
grace,
te.
the Lord is with
Tu
you.
sei benedetta fra le
You are
donne,
blessed
e
among women,
benedetto è il frutto del
and
tuo
blessed
seno,
is the fruit
Gesù.
of your womb, Jesus.
Santa Maria,
Holy
Madre
Mary,
di Dio,
Mother of God,
prega per noi peccatori,
pray for us sinners,
adesso e nell'ora della
now and at
nostra
the hour of
morte.
our death.
Amen.
Amen.
Pope Leo XIV there.
Pope Leo XIV, very interesting. A few themes coming out already there from his first piece, talking about peace.
Indeed, saying a greeting of peace. May my greeting of peace enter into your hearts and reach your families. All people, wherever you are, all peoples of the entire planet.
Right.
May peace be with you. God's peace be with you, he said. And here we see him in his, after having given that opening and beautiful words.
Continuing also the message of Pope Francis, where he even said in Spanish and Italian, tutti,
Il
tutti, tutti,
Santo
todos.
Padre Leone, a tutti i fedeli presenti
And so
And
Pope,
the
e a
Holy Father,
quelli
Pope
che
Leo,
ricevono la
to
sua
all people
benedizione
and
a
in
mezzo
the
della
square and
radio,
all
della
receiving,
televisione e
are
delle
hearing
altre
this
tecnologie di
through new technology,
comunicazione,
online, everywhere.
concede l'indulgenza plenaria
Offers his,
della forma
the
stabilita dalla
plenary
Chiesa.
indulgence in the formula established by the
Preghiamo
Church.
Dio
We pray
Onnipotente
to Almighty God
perché conservi a lungo
that-
il Papa
that
a
he
guida
may
della
keep the
Chiesa
Pope
e conceda
and
pace e
protect
unità
him
alla Chiesa
and
in
guide the
tutto il
Church
mondo.
and the entire world. Now he'll give this most solemn blessing to the entire world, to all of you joining us.
to everyone.
So we now prepare ourselves to receive this solemn blessing wherever we are, at home, in your car, at work, wherever you are.
Sancti Apostoli Petrus et Paulus, de quorum potestate et auctoritate confidimus,
So
ipsi intercedat pro nobis ad Dominum.
the holy apostles
Amen.
Peter and Paul,
Precibus et meritis Beate Mariae semper Virginis,
and we
Beati
also
Michaelis
to the
Arcangeli,
Blessed Mary,
Beati Ioannis Baptiste, et
To
Sanctorum Apostolorum
Saint
Petri et Pauli et Omnium Sanctorum. Misereatur vestri omnipotens Deus, et dimissis omnibus peccatis vestris, perducat vos Iesus Christus ad vitam aeternam. Amen. Indulgentiam, absolutionem et remissionem omnium peccatorum vestrorum, spatium vere et fructuose penitentiae, cor semper penitens, et emendationem vitae, gratiam et consolationem Sancti Spiritus, et finalem perseverantiam in bonis operibus tribuat vobis omnipotens et misericords Dominus. Amen. Et benedictio Dei omnipotentis, Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti descendat super vos et maniat semper.
And we just heard the blessing there, received the blessing there of Pope Leo XIV, and to the world, to the city, this most solemn blessing to all of us and all of you listening and watching out there.
What is interesting, he is smiling, and I found very touching the fact that he made reference to his former diocese in Peru and spoke to them in Spanish. Very, very touching moment, and how they are thanking them for how they accompanied him And so from this moment, I think
You've been listening to live coverage of the selection of a new pope. Very exciting for so many people who have gone quite a wild ride here for Catholics across the world as the last pope had passed away. And what was it, 2 days of voting? And pretty quickly.
Very quick.
From what I understand, recently, it hasn't taken as long as, of course, these things could. I think it was yesterday that they've gone years without a pope, without being able to select. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago, the first pope that is from America. He's chosen the name Pope Leo the 14th, and that is the big news of the day. There's a lot of other news as well to cover, and we're going to get to that here throughout the course of this show. We appreciate you being with us. We wanted to give you the full moment to live in this absolute world history that is unfolding right in front of us. So we appreciate you spending your time here with us on 97.1 FM Talk. We are going to resume our normally scheduled program here upon taking a quick break. Wiggins America next. And we've got a lot to talk about. A huge tariff deal announced with the United Kingdom, among other things. You're in the right place. You're with us here on the Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk. Join us on the Annie Fry YouTube live. You can play along with us there and chat, of course. We're asking you today, are you Catholic? Yes or no? Massive day for Catholics across the world, and we know there are quite a few of you out there in the listening audience. Weigh in today and let us know what your thoughts are on the selection of the new pope. We'll be right back.
Everybody gets high, everybody gets low.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. They are online at igotfloor.com. 3 locations in St. Louis for you to shop. St. Charles County, West County, also Dardine Prairie. If you have a flooring purchase in your future, make sure that you give Michael's Flooring Outlet the opportunity to earn your business. That's how they see this. And they work with so many St. Louis families. When you're in business as a family-owned and operated business for over 30 years, you start to know families, and families start to recommend Michael's because the experience is a very positive one. You want to make sure you're putting your money into a product that is going to deliver. And Michael's Flooring Outlet has a huge selection of all the different types of flooring that you might be searching for, to give you the options, to give you the different budget placed items that you might need. If you're looking for a Mohawk Smart Strand line of carpeting, you're going to invest in a certain kind of padding. They have options for you to make sure that you're getting the most out of the quality product that you're investing in. Visit them in store in St. Charles County, West County, or Dardine Prairie, online at igotfloor.com.
Love Talk Radio? We want to hear from you. Help shape the future of your favorite shows right here in St. Louis. Tell us what you love, what you skip, and what you want more of, because your voice matters. You'll be helping us make better radio for you and the entire St. Louis community. It's easy to sign up, and selected panelists will receive a special gift as a thank you. Visit 971talk.com/feedback to join the conversation today. That's 971talk.com/feedback.
May is a great time to exercise your Second Amendment rights at the Range St. Louis West. If you're a member this month, they're going to double the discount on firearms from 5 to 10%. Membership has its privileges, and accessories are always 10% off. Ammo 10% off. Classes 15% off. You get free lanes and free rentals with over 120 firearms on the range. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road, or shop online at therangestl.com.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design, because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesideRD.com to schedule your free consultation.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems. And we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Biz Dash returns as St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at Energizer Park, home of St. Louis City SC, for the 10th year of the Biz Dash, the ultimate office party and kickoff to summer. Thursday, May 22nd at Energizer Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
Our YouTube live chat poll today is, are you Catholic? It's yes or no question. Let us know, though. I'm interested to see the results of this one. Let us know if you are Catholic or you are not Catholic. You find the poll by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube, and it'll come up there with today's date. 12:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Thursday afternoon, Mark Reardon makes his triumphant return back to the Mark Reardon Show. He'll be recapping his trip to Greece and much more. It all starts after Fox News at 3 o'clock.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. You've been listening to live coverage for well over an hour now as the white smoke was revealed at the Vatican, a new pope selected, and we now know who that pope is. And of course, we had to dip into our religious expert, Fred Bottomer, to talk about what this all means. Fred, thank you for taking some time out of show prep today to come in and talk about this breaking news. This is world history happening.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. I really do appreciate it.
So what can you tell us? Just give us the laydown of what you think about what happened.
First, I was totally shocked. Earlier I had been saying no way, or I guess I couched it a little bit easier. I'd say it's highly unlikely that an American would be named the next pope because it hadn't happened before. And the thought was always that the Cardinals would not want to give that much power to someone from a superpower. So that's a bit of a shock that they did that. As the conclave got closer, I saw more people saying it might be time for Americans because the Vatican finances are so bad. They think maybe they need an American to come in and figure it out. So, I mean, I don't know if that was what the reason was, but you got to keep in mind, he's 69 years old. He's a native of Chicago, born in 1955 in Chicago, spent a lot of time being educated here. And then he went over to Peru where he was a missionary for a third of his life. He became the bishop of Chiclayo, Peru. And then Pope
I'm glad you
Francis,
said that it's from Peru because people were thinking that Chiclayo is the Italian way to say Chicago.
Oh,
and it's like, no, it's not. That's not another pronunciation of Chicago.
Right. And then he went to the Vatican where he serves as he's in charge of the office where they choose new bishops. So, if you're a bishop in the church or an archbishop or a cardinal, you deal with him a lot. Mm-hmm. So very, a lot of recognition from everyone that was inside that conclave. He's relatively young, I would think, to be a pope. He's 69. He turned 70 in September. Let's keep in mind when Pope Francis was elected, he was 76 years old. When Pope Benedict was elected, he was 78 years old. Pope John Paul II was really young, though. He was 58 years old. But he followed the death of Pope John Paul I, who died after just 33 days. So I think they wanted to get a younger pope to avoid that from happening again. But, at 69 years old, it means he should have a lengthy papacy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's seen as he will probably stay in the same direction as Pope Francis. He chose the name Pope Leo the 14th. And we'll be learning more about some of the reasons why he chose that name. We are, some of the other things about him. He's I guess the first thing we want to say about him is a lot of people thought he wasn't charismatic enough to be chosen pope. Could he win the crowds over? Well, seeing him address the crowd, I don't know if it was the American factor or the shock of everything, but I think he did a pretty good job on stage. His first, papal appearance, he did a really good job talking there. But back when it comes to being an American, of the 10 cardinals that could have been named a pope, he's the least American of all the Americans. So maybe that's why he was acceptable.
What is it?
Least American. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does the American scale look like?
Well, Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
Yeah.
Gregarious, charismatic, says what he thinks.
Yeah, I get
Very American.
Okay.
Robert Prevost.
I like that you just described American that way.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of like I feel proud about that.
Yes, the new Pope Leo,
An American
the 14th, is a bit more shy.
Okay.
They said, but it didn't seem too shy when he was standing, from the balcony and talking to the crowd. Keep in mind though, he's now also the Bishop of Rome, and that's why he addressed the crowd there specifically as the Bishop of Rome as being your new bishop. So that's something to keep in mind too. I was thinking if you're a St. Louis Catholic, and there's 23% of the population in the St. Louis area are Catholic. You're probably now just saying, "Oh, please come to Chicago soon. Make a papal trip.
Sure.
Come back home." And just imagine what that would be like for Catholics, in the United States, especially the Midwest, to come and welcome the new American Pope
back home.
Yeah.
We've got our YouTube poll up for today. I'd love to know of you listening right now. Weigh in and tell us if you're Catholic or not, because obviously, if you're somebody who is a Catholic, you're practicing, you understand the gravity of this day from within the faith. I want to know how many of you are out there. I don't normally give results of where we are right now. You said 23% of the St. Louis.
23%.
Right now we've got 173 votes on our poll, and 35% say yes. So I think that tracks a little bit on the more likely to be listening to this station maybe in your afternoon, so that number being slightly higher. But if you're listening right now, weigh in and let us know if you're Catholic. There's a lot of people listening as well, myself not being Catholic. I completely understand the gravity of this moment in time for so many people across the world. Fred, let me ask you a super basic question. As a non-Catholic myself, we've got 64% of 182 people listening right now who have voted who are not Catholic. Can you describe in whatever amount of detail you like the job of the Pope? So you just mentioned that they're the Bishop of Rome as well.
Right.
But you also said that they might want a pope who could help them get their finances in order.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the Pope as obviously a spiritual leader and a spiritual bellwether for the Catholic Church to make sure they're guided in the correct biblical direction. But it sounds like it's more to the job than that.
It's kind of like Elon Musk. He's got to wear a lot of hats. All right. So he's the spiritual leader of the church. So he's the shepherd of the entire 1.4 billion member Roman Catholic Church.
Wow.
He's the Bishop of Rome, of the Diocese of Rome, and he's also the CEO. So that means he runs the Vatican. He appoints all the secretaries that will take care of all the different jobs, the evangelism job, the bishop's job, the discipline, the congregation, the doctrine of the faith. He appoints all of those people. It's just a hands-on CEO.
Kaylee McEnany tweeted out at 12:28, so within the last half hour, she highlighted some details on Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost from the New York Times. So she pulled this from the New York Times article that was put out on May 2nd of this year. Here are some things that she said. As bishop in Chiclayo, a city in northwestern Peru, he opposed a government plan to add teachings on gender in schools. Quote, the promotion of gender ideology is confusing because it seeks to create genders that don't exist end quote, he told local news media. Next bullet point, in a 2012 address to bishops, he lamented that Western news media and popular culture fostered, quote, sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel, end quote. And then the third point he listed, quote, he told the Vatican's official news website last year that the bishop is not supposed to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom. Rather, he said, a church leader is, quote, called authentically to be humble, to be close to the people he serves, to walk with them, to suffer with them. Now, naturally on 97.1, we talk a lot about politics, of course, and we have seen the Pope in the past weigh in on especially cultural issues, social issues that do make their way into politics. Do you see at this point any political ramifications from the selection of this Pope?
Well, it sounds like he's going to continue the direction of Pope Francis, talking about being, down with the people, being a missionary, that sort of thing. When it comes to things like the ordination of women deacons or the blessing of people in same-sex unions or the Latin Mass, which is a big thing of Cardinal Raymond Burke, he plays that closer to his vest. We don't really know where he stands on some of those things. When it comes to things like talking, will he speak out to President Trump or Vice President Vance? I guess we're going to find out. But I think they say, I'm looking here that Catholics, some things that the Cardinals might have wanted was someone that could stand up to some of the foreign leaders, not just the American leaders, but Putin, people like that as well, and President Xi in China. So I think we're going to find out, but I don't think we really know.
Yeah, I think these types of things specifically are really interesting to cover in that there's just kind of a different set of rules when you're covering the Pope. The slap fight isn't the same as it is in the political world, which I think is good. You would assume that a faith leader, a church Catholic Pope would be above and apart from all of that, although they would still have an obligation to weigh in.
And one thing I want to mention, in case at 2:00, if you start hearing church bells ringing, the Archdiocese of St. Louis has asked all parishes in the area to ring their bells at 2:00.
Oh, that's lovely.
To mark the election of a new Pope.
There's nothing like church bells. Real quick, Ryan, I'll let you in here in just a second, but Mark is back today?
Yeah, Mark is back today, working on his show. And I don't really... Oh, we've got Scott Jennings scheduled to come on.
Wonderful.
And we've got Brian Kilmeade coming up as well.
Okay, so at 3:00, you're going to want to keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And welcome Mark Reardon back to the... I know you're working your tail off, Fred, and you're the right guy for the right time. Ryan, did you have something real quick?
Just really quick. We saw so many nations represented at the Vatican today. Everybody holding up flags. It was really neat to watch. Is this confirmation of the Pope, is that unanimous? Or was that, they just had to get 51% to the people?
Well, it took a 2/3 vote.
2/3, okay.
So there were 133 cardinals that were eligible to vote. 80% of them were picked by Pope Francis. So that's 108 of them. You needed 89 to be elected. So it was a 2/3 vote to get the job.
Fred, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'll be 100% sure to be tuned in here today at 3:00 when Mark Reardon is back and continue to get the reaction. You're on top of all of this. Everyone said you got to get Fred in here, so we're thankful for your time.
Thanks.
All right. Wiggins America in the 1:00 hour.
Sure.
You got bummed for more important things.
Please.
Tyrus is with us next. Don't go away.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. You want the best for your parents, but making the right senior living choice can feel overwhelming. Let me make it easier. New Perspective in Weldon Spring is where older adults can thrive, not just reside. At New Perspective, your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaged activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. You'll have peace of mind knowing that they have care available when they need it. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com. Point Pest Control is reminding you it's time to spray for mosquitoes. How can something that tiny interrupt your outside gatherings? Have Point Pest Control spray today so your next outside gathering is mosquito-free. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you are retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The announcement made less than an hour ago in Vatican City that Cardinal Robert Prevost, born in Chicago, 69 years old, is the new pope, the first American pope in the history of the Catholic Church. He's chosen the name Leo XIV.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Beginning with peace be with you as he spoke in Italian and Spanish, his eyes welling up as he smiled and waved from the Vatican balcony a short time ago. Heard here through a translator.
God loves everyone. Evil will not prevail. We are all in the hands of God.
The new pope is a missionary who spent his career ministering in Peru. Pope Francis brought him to the Vatican in 2023 to lead the office of bishops. President Trump just posting congratulations and calling it a great honor for our country to have the first American pope, adding that he looks forward to meeting him. Earlier, the president announcing the first trade deal since his reciprocal tariff plan began, an agreement with the UK.
We'll be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel.
The president says he'll lower tariffs on UK cars, steel, and aluminum in the UK, will reduce barriers on American agricultural products, including beef, though final details are still being worked out. The president says the U.S. continues to work on more deals with the European Union and China. Transportation Chief Sean Duffy just rolling out a proposed overhaul of the air traffic control system. It calls for 6 new control centers, plus upgrades at all air traffic facilities in the next 3 years. No price tag yet. America is listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. ethos.com/today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
72 with changeable skies going through our Thursday afternoon. Still expect some scattered showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder tonight. Partly to mostly cloudy. It's dry. 50 for the overnight low. Friday, gorgeous though, a little cool for this time of year. Sunny skies and 70, 73 and sunny Saturday, 78 and sunny for Mom's Day on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. You can reach Stewie directly when you call or text 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Okay, Annie, what's a bagel loan? When you are purchasing a new home, you're going to need a mortgage, right? Well, if you work with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage and qualify for the bagel loan, you pay nothing in closing costs. When it comes time to wrap that deal up, those closing costs can hit to the tune of 4 figures. It's expensive. You don't do that when you work with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. 314-324-4440. That's the number to get to him directly. He does business the old-fashioned way. He does it directly with you. When you reach out to that number, it is Stewie's personal cell phone number. 314-324-4440. This works for refinances as well. If you want to lower your interest rate on your mortgage, you can call Stewie for a bagel loan refinance. 314-324-4440. Don't pay closing costs with another lender. Get the bagel loan. Google bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just two deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks, you know? Like us?
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is J.D. Powers Award winner 5 years in a row and has the nation's best warranty coverage. Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great May sale. $279 off every window and $729 off every entry door or patio door with 0 payments and 0 interest for 18 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right? You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
They tried to label any conservative as somewhat of a domestic terrorist. They hide these facts. They go after Catholics. Under the previous administration, they were going after parents at school board meetings under the auspices of the Patriot Act, claiming they were domestic terrorists. Meanwhile, you have someone who's politically motivated who said, "Is this where the Republicans practice?" and tried to kill everyone there. That was his stated goal. I play on the congressional baseball team now. I wasn't there then, but I've heard firsthand stories of how terrible that actually was. So, yeah, I mean, and by the way, this is also the same FBI, Rob, that told that big tech companies in 2020 that the Hunter Biden laptop thing was a Russian hack and leak operation when they knew it wasn't true. They knew it was actually Hunter Biden's laptop. They tried to debunk the story. So the point of all this is Kash Patel's there. We've got new leadership at the FBI. They need to absolutely clean house when it comes to these sorts of folks who are politically motivated and get it back to what its original purpose was, which was to take on violent crime. I think Kash is doing that, but this further amplifies the narrative that existed under the Biden administration and before that, quite frankly.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Well, Tyrus, welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We are grateful to have you here. Yesterday, there was some news announced from the White House with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. 205 arrested in FBI child sex operation. I wanted to get your thoughts on what this administration, specifically with the law enforcement wing, how do you feel about getting to the bad guys and putting them away? Is enough happening?
Honestly, I feel like I'm a little frustrated that this administration had to put so much emphasis on getting bad guys.
Yeah.
The last 4 years, apparently, it was the presidency. They always want to say, what do you think he was most famous for? I think he empowered criminals. He gave the bad actors all kinds of paths to no accountability. He opened our borders to a crime wave. So the fact that the Trump administration has been able to lock down the border, start rounding these guys up, start cracking stuff that clearly could be found is tremendous. And my hat's off to law enforcement who weathered a horrible storm, not just morally, but financially. And for them to come back strong when you give them a little dignity and respect, it's truly amazing what the American law enforcement officer can do when supported.
Yeah. Amen to that. We're speaking with Tyrus. He's a regular on Gutfeld, of course. His book, you got to check it out. Enough said. He's got Just Tyrus out as well. Get both of those. You're a busy man. You travel the country. You're doing shows all across America, and you're talking with real people regularly. Is your sentiment, we asked this question a little bit earlier in the week on one of our polls. People keep asking, like, oh, is this really what you voted for? Do you think is there a regretful Trump voter out there?
No. No, and this is exactly what I voted for. I have no problem with swinging for the fences and going out and trying to improve everybody's life. Are we going to get everything that we wanted? Probably not. Hopefully so. But if I have more faith in a president who's transparently telling me what he's going to do, doing what he says he's going to do, and I'm all for trusting the process. Is there risks? Will there be hard times? Yes, because we just went through 4 years of fleecing of the American spirit, of the American pocketbook, and the American moral code.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. And the president hasn't really seemed to, through his campaign promises, set aside some things for later. He has put in place so many people within his cabinet and those working with those cabinet members to attack everything really all at once. And it seems to be successful. Going back to the arrests and Kash Patel at the FBI, Dan Bongino being added to that mix, Pam Bondi leading at the attorney general position. I particularly want to see more of this effort towards people who are participating in child trafficking and pursuing and working to, their predators essentially on the internet, parents are out of their own league because they didn't grow up with this stuff. What is your advice as a parent in this climate that we're in right now?
I think you have to, if you're not physically monitoring your children on the internet, they should not be on it. If your kid is hiding stuff from you on social media, you need to be well aware of whom they're talking to. And also, we need to also start looking at our politicians to see what are they going to do about making to where you have to have an ID to be on the internet. You can have as many accounts as you want as long as all the accounts are traced to an actual person. So you would eliminate the sex trafficking when they pretend to be 13-year-old little boys and girls luring our children to meet at parks or restaurants or getting their home addresses or their parents' work schedule. Video game companies need to be held accountable for knowing damn right well that they have predators posing as children on there. So we need to see a comprehensive support. And I think this administration will do it. And I think the reason why they'll do it fast is because President Trump, he's not a fool. He knows that the opposition that we have to worry about is Republicans that are willing to take a buck or support something for campaign contributions and sell us out. So I think the reason why he has such a sense of urgency is when you say swamp, it's not just one-sided swamp. We've seen it. The Republicans who are willing to play ball with the progressives because it's financially beneficial to them. We need to get things done before those things can be those potholes are put in place in front of us.
Yeah, you talked about being present with your kids when they're on the internet. You've mentioned video games and social media apps. I don't think that parents are as aware as they need to be about the predators that we now know that Kash Patel is going after, what they're trying to get our children to do, how easy it is to get into some of these backdoor channels, into these apps, these games, to reach our kids. It's so filthy. It's so horrific.
Understand this. They're not, they're luring your children, then they're going to sell your children for sex. And then when they age out or they can't physically deal with the abuse anymore, they murder them. That's what they're going to do with your children because you won't watch what's going on Roblox, because you won't watch who they're talking to on Facebook Messenger, or you let them sit there on TikTok and groomers and pedophiles are pretending to be in their age group, or worse, telling them how horrible their parents are. That's what the whole point of that thing with the school when schools were trying to enact a thing where you didn't have to talk to your parents.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to tell your parents if you were discussing gender and sex with teachers. Who did that really protect? It's not protecting the children. That's protecting the adult. You are literally protecting the predator from responsibility, because what is the number one target of every pedophile is to divide you from your parents, convince you just enough time to get what they want, to get your parents to be the enemy. Oh yeah, don't tell mom and dad, this is our little secret. And now you're having legislation and schools supporting that. I mean, it's just insanity. And we have to be better. We have to turn off our own TVs. We have to get off the internet ourselves. We also have to realize, listen, if every time you get on social media and you're like, I can't believe there's all these fake accounts trying to talk to me, what do you think they're doing with your kids?
Yeah. And they're good at it. They're ahead of the curve on it.
It is a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah. It's terrible. And I think that
I apologize for being so blunt, but that's as real as it gets.
No, you need to be blunt, because I don't think that people really understand the gravity of it. And you've listed some, like you said, Roblox and Facebook Messenger. These are places that a lot of people think are innocuous, that aren't going to be a breeding ground for people. But that's why the predators go to these places, because they're perceived as safe. And you've said this before in the show, and I like to have this conversation with you every once in a while, because I know you as a parent are engaged and paying attention to these types of things. But the easy thing to do is to hand over the tablet or the phone. The thing you have to put your energy into and the effort in is to show up and be a participant in the kid's life. And we need to get back to that.
Yeah, we have a lot of bad parents in this country, and I'm not pointing fingers. I take responsibility, because if anyone says, I don't walk around saying I'm a great dad or I'm a good dad. I do the best I can with what I've done. I try to learn from mistakes, and I try not to push my own stuff on my kids, but we're human. But at the same time, we have a lot of parents that need to really check their responsibilities and their goals, because we have gotten so spoiled, so lazy in this country. But I'm sorry, and I think moms, we got to start holding moms accountable. Everyone likes to talk about deadbeat dads. Dads aren't present. Dads who aren't paying the bills and support. We also need to start looking at the moms who are not doing their part either. When you've got your hair done, your nails done, your makeup done, new boobs, and your kids got dirty shoes, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to start being more accountable, less worried about selfies on social media, and start raising our kids to be productive, accountable men and women in this country. And, that's just, and I know that's not a popular thing because no one ever wants to, take a look in the mirror, but I don't by any means walk around telling like, oh, I got all the answers. I make mistakes just like every other parent, and you try to own them and be better. But you also at the same time realize you have to sacrifice your own stuff. I might not be able to watch the Celtic game. I might not be able to watch the Red Sox game. I might not be able to, do the things I want to do sometimes because they didn't ask to come in this world. We brought them in this world, and it's our responsibility to protect them and educate them so they can take care of themselves one day.
No lies detected. Thank you, Tyrus, for being with us this afternoon. I love having you on here and love the way you say it. It's direct to the point and very on the mark.
We need to be better.
Yeah, we do.
All of us.
Thanks, Tyrus. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Tyrus is a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, host of Maintaining with Tyrus on Outkick. I mean, this guy is all over the place. He's always hustling. He's touring the country. He's got a Tyrus Here and Now stand-up streaming special on Fox Nation. You can check that out as well. And check out his tour. You can find Tyrus pretty much anywhere if you look hard enough. His latest book is Nuff Said. Highly recommend. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about what was going to be the biggest news of the day. I said off air to Ryan, Trump is probably thinking like the Pope, the new Pope, like 10 minutes after I announced my first trade deal. You got to be kidding me. There is a new tariff, a trade deal with the United Kingdom. We're going to welcome Taylor Riggs back on the show. She's the co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business to tell us implications of this trade deal. Does this get the ball rolling for future ones? Have you looked at your 401k today or your stocks today? I'm going to go look at mine at the break, and we'll talk to Taylor Riggs next. Don't go away.
All day long they work so hard till the sun is going down.
You're listening to the
Working
Annie
on
Fry
the
Show.
highways and byways
Find the
and
podcast, on-demand audio, and more at
You
971talk.com/Annie.
hear them moaning their lives away, then you hear somebody say, that's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. That's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. Can't you hear?
CiviaLaw.com is the website. You can learn everything I'm going to say and more by visiting CiviaLaw.com. But if you are interested in getting a free strategy session, this wipes off $300 of investment to your planned future. For the first 10 listeners to call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. You got to call right now. They hand out 10 of these each time I talk to you about this. You can get a free strategy session by mentioning the Annie Fry Show and setting up that appointment. 833-995-WILL to talk about your estate plan. Maybe you want to create a trust. Maybe you have an elder law concern that you need ironed out. They can help you with the wills, trust, powers of attorney even. If you are thinking about, consider this significantly right now, it might not be something that you've thought of, but if you are thinking about getting a gift, a high school graduate, they're 18 years old, consider helping them set up their powers of attorney. This is a very inexpensive way to take care of a very big adult thing that 18-year-olds really aren't going to be thinking of themselves. And if you want to give them something that really makes sense for their future, for their planning, help them set up the powers of attorney so that they can be cared for in the event of something unfortunate that takes place, maybe after they leave and move out and are on their own. If you're looking for your own trust, estate planning, will, power of attorney situation, remember 2-week turnaround from completed documents at that initial sit-down appointment. And if you call now, you get that free strategy session. 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, CiviaLaw.com.
Love Talk Radio? We want to hear from you. Help shape the future of your favorite shows right here in St. Louis. Tell us what you love, what you skip, and what you want more of, because your voice matters. You'll be helping us make better radio for you and the entire St. Louis community. It's easy to sign up, and selected panelists will receive a special gift as a thank you. Visit 971talk.com/feedback to join the conversation today. That's 971talk.com/feedback.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
The International Institute of St. Louis invites you to try international cuisine, support local immigrant-owned businesses, and more at their community bazaars. The bazaars are free and open to the public at the International Institute of St. Louis, located at 3401 Arsenal Street, and take place every other Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Learn more about the International Institute of St. Louis Community Bazaars at iistl.org/bazaar. Message supported by Together Credit Union.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with 2024 pricing and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
It's clear while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal. And people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left. And if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister, getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business. He understands deals. And that's why we're here today. So
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick singing the praises, standing to Donald Trump's right in the Oval Office after they announce a major trade deal with the United Kingdom. What does that mean? Well, we need expert help on that. So we go to our expert friend. Taylor Riggs joins us once again, the co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business. Taylor, welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, Secretary Lutnick there singing the praises of Donald Trump. What can you tell us about the details of this deal that has been billed as major?
Yeah, you know, this is interesting. I woke up this morning. I was like, gosh, I really hope it's India, Japan, Vietnam, South Korea, you know, something that was a little bit of a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, oh gosh, is the market going to be let down by some measures? We have a surplus with the UK. Howard Lutnick, this soundbite that you played, I think before, after that, he said, we're even if you exclude gold purchases. I was like, are we really going to be, what can we glean from this? Now, from the market reaction, it does seem like we can glean a few good things. First of all, this is a framework, maybe a template that other countries can use or they can pull details from. Second of all, this proves that Trump wants trade deals and he wants to get them done. And he is going to get them done. So this is good. This is what the economy, this is what the market wanted to see, that there is a path towards closure. So I see this as a direction of travel. More deals are on the way. This is one of many. yes, this may not have been the biggie, but it shows that if you want to make a deal, we can. And I think that's why at least the market today is so excited about that, because it shows that this wasn't just throwing out numbers and we're just keeping tariffs at whatever number we want. It did interestingly show us, though, that we are keeping that 10% baseline tariff. I think a lot of people were wondering, are we taking tariffs down to zero? What are we doing? Howard Lutnick was very clear that this was a deal that's good for the UK and the UK worker, but it does also bring in revenue for us. So it shows the market that we're balancing that. And I think the market can absolutely digest about a 10% tariff. What we couldn't digest as an economy is a number like 46% or 145%, where people are looking at this and being like, oh my gosh, how do I make this work? So for me, my takeaway is this is a direction of travel, one of many. I think the EU and China, those are going to be biggies, but those are just going to take longer time.
Okay, we're speaking with Taylor Riggs, the co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business. You can follow her on X at Riggs Report. So what I hear you saying is this is a framework. Other countries can look at this United States, United Kingdom trade deal and see what happened there and use it as maybe a jumping off point for getting the job actually across the finish line in other places. You mentioned some big countries there that you were hoping that we would see who this might be. China is the big fish, as I understand it. Do you expect a deal to be done with China, or is it going to turn out to be deals done around China?
I think the latter. I think deals around China. I think the market's really excited that Scott Bessent is speaking with some Chinese officials on Saturday in Switzerland. That is absolutely a positive. But I love Larry Kudlow, who was economic counsel in Trump 1.0, anchors the 4 p.m. show Eastern on Fox Business here. We had him on our show, and he said that he had been in part negotiating the 2018-2019 deal with tariff deal with China. Guess what? They renege on all their promises. They haven't kept anything. So how do you, in full good faith, try to negotiate with a country that you know isn't going to follow it anyways?
Yeah.
That's what I think we're trying to figure out. He says they're still not following this stuff that he tried to negotiate with them. What was it now? 6 years ago. So I think we care less about China, even though it's the big fish. Certainly for big tech, it's the big fish, and Apple and Nvidia. But the deals around China, I think if we could get India, South Korea, Vietnam, that's showing that we're isolating China by picking up their other countries in Asia. You know, Tapestry is a stock that I was looking at today. They're the owner of the Coach handbags. They said that they are insulated from tariffs because they manufacture in India, Cambodia, Vietnam, etc. And no country or vendor has more than 10% of their supply chain. So that's what like a well-diversified country looks like. And they're not really in China anymore. So if that's sort of a blueprint of what companies can do, and again, they're not manufacturing here in the United States, but is it better that they're at least at a proxy and not at China? And so I think the art of the deal has been, how do we bring people around China closer to us and away from them? Now, there are some loopholes. China can try to ship their goods to India to then ship them to us, right, to try to get around things. And that's where you have to trust that the administration is smart enough to sort of start to close those loopholes. But I think China's not going to be, probably not this year, right? I mean, like China could be, I think the last deal, it took them 18 months.
Yeah.
I mean, so this could be the biggie, but it's going to be the big whale at the end of the road.
Okay. We're speaking with Taylor Riggs with Fox Business. She co-hosts the Big Money Show. If we're able to successfully work around China, I would assume that China would have to make moves of their own. Where does China go to if we've kind of built up a fortress around them in order to do business and to, restore some economic balance for us in our country? Does China get pushed into some nefarious places to start to cover for that?
You would think, does China go to Russia or Iran? Here's the deal. China needs us. We consume 5 times from China what they consume from us. We consume $20 trillion worth of goods in a year. We are the global consumer. We are the people shopping. People in China aren't coming to America to shop the way that we are shopping in China. So without us, sure, there are other places China can go, but we're the big fish for them. They need us as the consumer to keep them afloat. You've started to see it. We were laughing earlier. There's been a few stories. One story that I loved in the Wall Street Journal is China hides all their data. So when they say their economy is growing at 5%, most economists think that's 2 to 3% above estimates. They've stopped publishing a lot of their data as well. They won't even now publish soy sauce production. They hide it. They take it off their website. They scrape it. So we don't even know what their economy is like. I think a lot of people would say, if you're not even showing us what your data is, it can't be good. We're hearing reports of riots in factories, people who haven't even been paid back pay, and now those factories are closing. I've heard there's 16 million jobs at risk due to factory closures. Factory and exports and production out of China in the manufacturing sector is near the lowest that we haven't now seen since the depths of COVID. So this shows that they're getting hit a little bit more. Now, how much, I don't know, because we can't go to their country and they won't publish data. But when you start to see their central bank cutting rates, their central bank flooding the market with liquidity, their central bank injecting 1 trillion yuan into their currency, that's telling me they're stressed in their financial system, even though I don't have the exact data.
Right.
So that's a long way of answering your question, but they need us.
Yeah.
And without us, they're going to start to have some pain. And so they're going to maybe come to the negotiating table.
Yeah, I think that it's important to understand, who holds the keys in a deal like that. And obviously there's going to be a mutual benefit for doing business intra-countries, but it is important to understand that China does need the United States, that they don't hold all the cards. But then the question mark is how China will react. They don't really function the way we function. Their responsibility to the people is different than the American government's responsibility to the people. The other side of all of this, balancing out all of these trade deals with tariffs and everything, is what the president continues to talk about, is bringing manufacturing production back to the United States. In your assessment from the announcements that have been made, of course, there's pomp and circumstance made around these announcements, but have we seen, is there a measurable investment being made here on the homeland to bring manufacturing and production back?
Yeah, I'm mixed on that. The White House has the figure at like $5 to $8 trillion that have been announced since he became president. Some of these are legit. I mean, you have like Eli Lilly, Merck, saying like, we're going to start building manufacturing pharmaceuticals. There's no reason we shouldn't be building our key cancer drug, Keytruda, from Merck, not in the United States. Let's open up and start manufacturing our cancer drug, our top-selling cancer drug, in the United States. So those are real, tangible things. My worry has been always, I want to see the proof. I want to go 2 years from now and make sure that companies are breaking ground, that their permitting has gone through, that they are actually like posting job listings.
That it's real.
That, right? I don't want another Wisconsin Foxconn situation where you have them fly over, they cut the ribbon, and now we have an empty land and nothing has been built for all the big factories that were promised. So that's going to take time. I mean, we know this, right? A factory could take 3 to 4 years. The number one thing going for us is this tax cut bill, where they have said that they want to do 100% total expensing, not just on factory equipment, but on actual factories. That's a game changer. The math is complicated, and I don't want to confuse your viewers. But if I can fully expense on my income statement or my balance sheet a full factory, I'm effectively writing it off.
Yeah.
So the tax implications of that just sort of incentivizes people to build. So the third part of that three-legged stool of deregulation and tariffs has to be those tax cuts bill and some of the details in that tax cut bill that I think will really help spur some of the manufacturing.
Taylor, last question before we let you go, because obviously what the president has wanted to do economically is incredibly bold. Unless you're saying that certain elements of what he has campaigned on and promised are completely not going to happen. If he is successful the way he has committed himself to being successful, is this transformative for the future of the United States of America?
To me, this feels this way because if I can grow at 3-4% GDP instead of 2 or 1.5% GDP, I've lowered my debt to GDP ratio. I've lowered my deficit spending relative to GDP. These are all those big numbers when we look at our debt. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we $30+ trillion in debt? Well, it doesn't have to be if you increase the amount of growth. You can grow your way out of it. And then, of course, if you tackle that with spending cuts, like coming back on spending. So again, if companies are serious, and they want to come back. And my worry is companies say, well, it takes 4 years to build a factory, and in 3 years there's going to be a new president.
Yeah. Then
what's the incentive? That's why we need Congress to make the tax cuts permanent, not just a sunset clause in a couple years from now. That's why we really need to make sure that these companies understand that this is right for like the American economy long term and not just a fun talking point until next midterms in 18 months.
Action, not talk, is what I hear you saying, Taylor
Yes.
Riggs. Like we're on the edge of our seats. There are so many different seats
Yes.
available right now, and we're waiting in great hope and anticipation, and we hope for success. Taylor, thank you for the breakdown here. It's very valuable to me, to our listeners, so we really appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Happy to help.
You take care. Bye-bye. Taylor Riggs, co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business. I love the way she breaks things down. I don't know. Wouldn't you say she seems hopeful, but not yet convinced?
Well, I like that she's got some skepticism. Well, these are great announcements. That's fantastic. Let's see when they open the factory and start posting job listings.
Yeah. And if we want rah-rah, we'll go to the Trump administration and we'll try to get somebody to come tell us why everything's great. And there's a time and a place for that. But there's also a time and a place for, if it works, it'll be amazing. But here's where we are right now.
Yeah, and she mentioned the big, beautiful bill being a part of that with the tax cuts, their tax credits for opening things here. That's very important too. But it's so important that Trump is doing this stuff now because you know that at least for 4 years, this is going to be the condition if you're a company, you know.
Well, we have a new pope from Chicago, Illinois, of all places. We have talked to Tyrus about law enforcement and the need to get down to business along with parenting. We have combed through as it was being labeled, major trade deal between the United States and the United Kingdom. Taylor was like, well, that's kind of funny. So that only leaves us at the pinnacle of the show next.
Wiggins America.
Naturally. What are we talking about today?
The way people say words all funny.
An ancient argument.
That one's not on this list.
It should be. I had a listener of the show message me over the weekend, and she was at church, and someone said ancient, and she said I stood there dumbfounded.
No, you did not.
It was Amanda. I'm just going to out her right now.
No.
She heard it, and she was so offended by the sound of the word ancient.
Ancient.
That she had to tell me. She had to get it off her chest.
I mean, sorry to the people who say ancient.
That's not how you say it.
Nobody says that.
That would be weird.
Ancient is the way you say the word.
Ancient.
And we're going to debate this times 60 in the next segment. And by the way, we want a lot of your weigh in on this because a lot of these words can go either way.
Yeah, and I have a feeling we'll say a few of them differently from one another.
Yes.
We need you on the Annie Fry YouTube chat. We also want to know if you're Catholic. That's today's YouTube live chat poll. Pretty simple. Are you Catholic? Yes or no? I feel like by virtue of some of the comments here, some of you are commenting sort of. There are Catholics, there are non-practicing Catholics, and there are not Catholics. Unless you're not a Catholic, Go ahead and
Yeah,
throw
it's a yes or
vote.
no.
Yes.
So that's all you can say,
Yes.
one way or the other.
A new pope from Chicago, Illinois, the first American pope chosen today. Quite a day. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
RulerFoods.com. Save on your grocery bill when you shop at Ruler Foods. Why would you pay more for things that are the exact same at Ruler Foods? Why would you pay more? That never makes sense to me. Ruler Foods obviously is there to make your grocery cart more affordable. And I don't know anybody in my life right now who can't make the smart and wise decision to just spend less money on the same products that you can get everywhere else. They have the name brands you care about. They have Kroger brands, wonderful products at Ruler Foods prices. You can save right now on juicy 32-ounce big packs, fresh strawberries, just $3.99 a pound. We love the produce in the Fry House that you get from Ruler Foods, and it helps us eat more healthy because we can afford to buy more of it, make it readily available for the kiddos. Red seedless grapes as well, only $1.89 a pound. We go through a ton of those. If you are looking to fire up the smoker or the grill, we certainly always have ours in motion. Right now, you can get 73% lean ground beef in a money-saving 3-pound roll at just $3.49 a pound. Save on everything in your grocery cart when you shop at Ruler Foods. You can have those savings delivered to your door as well. Find out all you need to know at rulerfoods.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hey guys, it's Mark Bearden. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
The YouTube live chat poll today, we just mentioned a second ago, is are you Catholic? And there's no in between here. You can't vote or. You have to vote yes or no, not the or. It's one or the other. Let us know. And I'm interested to see the results of this poll. We talked about it kind of at the beginning of the show, but
We got 276 votes so far, and interesting split. So keep them coming.
145. Oh, by the way, too, definitely weigh in on this next segment. We'll be monitoring the chat on how you pronounce these words.
I thought you were going to say thoughts on the Pope.
You can do that too. I mean, free country. 145. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
97.1 FM Talk is proudly supporting the Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts raffle, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers. Learn more at stlgunsandhoses.com and listen to the Mark Cox Morning Show Fridays at 8:20 for winner announcements. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! All right, I have just a ton of words here that we'll have to decide what the correct pronunciation of these words are.
You gonna spell them for us and then we say them, or what?
I'm going to say it the way I say it, and then
and we'll tell you if you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to say what I said.
I'm going to say what I say.
Unlike usual.
I'm just going to go out there, say whatever I want, and then you guys are going to correct me.
And this is from what?
It's actually from Parade once again.
All right. You a big fan? You
I'm a
subscriber
huge
now?
fan of Parade. I used to just love getting the actual magazine in the newspaper. The feel of it, the size of it, loved it. Number 1, tomato.
It is not tomato, although my Australian grandma would say tomato.
Is that a dialect thing?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's an Australian thing.
If you're from America, you're saying tomato.
I've never heard anybody even outside of America say tomato. So I guess that's the thing.
My grandma would have said that.
British people, I've heard them say tomato.
Well, that's inappropriate.
Did you hear how he said that?
He said it very formally.
Yeah.
All right, so we know that one. Number 2, horror versus horror.
Oh, yes. Horror.
Horror.
No,
Yeah,
that was a foul word, Brad.
I'm a horror.
I needed a
too.
little extra more second syllable.
Horror.
Is horror a?
No, I can't say it
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, I think.
Horror. Yeah.
I think my dad would say that, and it would bother me.
Sounds like a Midwestern thing. The OR becomes an AR.
Yeah, like in northern.
Farty far.
Yes, exactly. Why do we do that, by the way? Is it because that's a northern thing?
What's a St. Louis thing?
Yeah, but
No, it's not. That's the farty far is not northern.
It sounds like a Minnesota accent, but just on a few words.
Yeah, that's not northern. That's super St. Louisan to the extent that I think it stops at the Mississippi River. I don't know very many of my Illinois folks that say that the way Missouri ones do. I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, we're getting into real dividers of people here.
Horror.
Horror also. Not
And honestly,
horror.
I think there are many times when you have said in some scenario where we're doing a segment on the air, you've said horror, and I always say horror just to emphasize
I know we do.
the second syllable.
Because if you slur through it, it's like, oh
Sounds
man,
like it
what
starts
a
with
horror.
a W. Yeah.
What a horror
Movie.
show.
Yes. Okay, moving on.
All right. These are the real ones now. We're getting into the nitty gritty. Data versus data.
I'm a data person.
Are you?
Yes.
Data, yeah.
I am too.
Data sounds kind of smug.
Yeah, it's
It does,
pretentious.
doesn't it?
Yeah, if you're a data person, you drink fine wine.
Yeah. You probably are like one
Not
datum.
Southern Comfort like this girl. Go on.
So we can drink some whiskey and crunch some data.
I want to be with those people.
I do too.
Yeah. I don't want to be with the data people.
We'll drink some fine wine. Crunch some data.
You said we have 60 of these?
There's tons.
Going on.
Pecan versus pecan.
Not a Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Pecan. Pecan.
What about in front of pie?
Pecan.
Pecan.
Yeah.
Unless I'm making fun of Southerners.
I think I might say pecan sometimes. I think it depends on the context. In front of pie, it's always pecan.
Pecan.
But if I'm eating them out of a can, I think I'm saying pecans.
That's weird.
I don't think you are. I think you want to be.
No, I do.
I think you're
I just don't eat them.
Want
a
to be
lot.
Southerner.
Maybe.
I kind of want to be a Southerner.
Apricot or apricot?
I think I want to be an apricotter, but apricot seems easier to say, so I don't know.
I think I've always said apricot.
I think I'm apricot too. Apricot, it sounds a little snooty, just like data or data.
Or apricot data.
That sounds like a company in Silicon Valley. Okay. I already know the way you're going to answer this one. And if you answer opposite, I know that you're just pulling my leg. Leisure versus
leisure.
Leisure.
No, I'm a leisure world type of girl.
If you honestly say leisure,
Mm-mm.
I'm looking at the chat right now.
Mhm.
Most people are agreeing with the way we say these words: apricot, pecan, Lieutenant Commander
You don't
Data.
need to read back the chat.
If you say leisure,
Yeah.
everybody's leisure. Everybody's leisure.
Leisure.
Okay, this is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Handkerchief versus handkerchief.
Chiff.
Chiff,
right?
Handkerchief.
Have you heard people say any of these way though?
Handkerchief.
I had a teacher that used to say "at your leisure," and he thought it was so amusing in college.
Was he saying it ironically?
Kinda.
Well, that didn't count.
Yeah.
Kerchief. I've heard kerchief.
I
but
have
not
too.
handkerchief.
I've heard kerchief. I've never heard kerchief.
Yeah.
I've heard kerchief. Adult versus adult.
Like an adult beverage?
Mm-hmm.
An adult beverage?
An adult beverage?
No.
Or adult?
Adult.
Yeah, it's adult.
Duh.
UHDUHLT.
Adult.
Adult.
Duh.
Often versus
Often.
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 It has to be. Do you know another question here? Do you know anybody that says it often?
Most people, I don't know. Yeah, probably.
This is a tough one, especially based on the way that it's written. And it really could go either way. OUR.
Hour.
Our or our?
Hour.
Our.
Are you coming over to
Hour.
our house?
OWER.
You sure?
Mine is more one syllable. Our. But
you're still getting there.
But not or.
I absolutely, in the context of, hey,
It's a
are you coming over to
word.
our house? ARE is basically the way I'm saying that word. You coming over to our house? Absolutely do that.
No, our.
This one's going to be a divider of people. Either versus
Either.
It
depends.
Do you?
Yeah, I use both.
This one is,
I like either better,
I think I say either.
but I think I definitely use both of them.
Does anybody bagel? Does anybody say
Bagel?
Bagel?
No.
I've
I've
never
I've heard
that.
of that before, but it's bagel.
Yeah.
Like BAY.
I grew up with kids who said this all the time. It actually drove me crazy then. Crayon.
Crayon.
CRAN. Yep.
I have a friend, he might be listening right now, called him Crowns.
I have a friend that I grew up with who may be listening as well, who did that.
Crowns?
Yep.
I think we used to make fun of him.
He also says, but he also says instead of king, he says keen.
Like King James?
Things that end in ing, he says een.
That
leads us to the next one. Bean or bin?
Bin.
Where have you been?
Where have you been?
Where have you
been?
Where have you
been?
Would that be an Australian /
I've been studying apricot data.
Have you been eating a tomato?
You're pretty good at that. Caramel.
I'm big on this one.
Caramel.
No.
Caramel.
Caramel's wrong. It can be spelled CARMEL, but it's almost always spelled CARAMEL. It's caramel.
Todd Sivia is weighing in on this, by the way.
What's he got?
2 words that are not on my list.
Uh-huh.
Wash versus wash. We all know the correct pronunciation of that.
Todd, are you a washer?
He didn't say which one he is.
I'm gonna say that he's a washer, and he knows washers.
We all know washers.
I think my grandma was a wash. Put it in the wash. She would also say fark instead of fork. And she'd be making dinner. We'd be setting the table, and we would just always be like, "What should we put on the table, Grandma? Should we put plates and spoons and knives and anything else?" Just to get her to say fark. And she'd always pick it up and be like, put these things on the table.
She knew what you were doing.
Oh yeah, we were goofing around, but she was a farker.
Which, if you're having breakfast at her house, would she put syrup on the table or syrup? Syrup?
Heck yeah.
Oh, really?
Syrup, yeah.
Oh, syrup.
I'm
You guys.
I'm an educated person, Ryan Wiggins.
I agree with
How
you
do you spell
on
it?
caramel. Even though I say caramel,
Caramel.
it should be caramel based on the way the word is written.
Yeah.
How do you spell syrup?
SYRUP.
I also have an aunt whose name is Carmel. CARMEL. A great
gosh.
aunt. This is my Australian grandmother's sister. And so it was like a point of interest in the family to qualify for family membership to differentiate between caramel and caramel.
You guys, aunt is on the list.
Aunt?
Aunt.
I'm not an aunter, but I know people.
Is that
who
a
are.
New England thing? Aunt?
I don't know.
No.
It's probably cultural. It probably is based on culture, but I've always been ant.
Okay, pronounce this one. We're running out of time, but ANTI.
Anti.
Anti, yeah.
Not anti?
Depends.
So you can go both ways.
Sure.
AC/DC.
Yeah, I always say that.
Last one. Celtic versus Celtic.
Doesn't it matter what you're talking about?
It kind of does, because this is another if you're
Boston?
in Boston.
The only time I use Celtic is talking about the Boston basketball team.
Me too.
Which
Everything else is
he won't
Celtic.
shut up about them. He
Yeah.
just talks about the Boston
Shut
Celtics
up.
all the time.
Oh, here comes Larry Bird again. That's what we always say. That's the whole office says that when
We always
Brad's
refer to
around.
Brad as the Larry Bird of radio.
Yes, we do.
What's your face? Should
Bump music isn't playing.
I was gonna say, should we
I'm,
keep
I'm
talking?
clicking play.
Is the volume
No,
up?
we're out at 5650, but yeah, the volume's
Well,
up
that's
and
trouble,
nothing's
'cause it's
playing.
Bump music's not playing.
57.50.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. I got about 16 to 18 more of these.
Let's go to a break. We'll be right back after
ever
this.
wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number, 314-947-2012.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A historic choice for Pope. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A cardinal born in Chicago, Robert Prevost, is elected on day 2 of the conclave, the first ever American Pope. His first words from the Vatican balcony were, "Peace be with you," and he continued a theme of peace.
A costruire ponti.
May we all
con il dialogo,
bridges
con l'incontro,
with dialogue and
unendoci
encounter,
tutti per essere un solo popolo,
so that we can all be
sempre in pace.
one people, all in peace.
Through a translator there, speaking Italian and Spanish, but not English, to the joyous crowd in St. Peter's Square, he becomes Pope Leo XIV.
He is considered to be somewhat aligned with Pope Francis. On a personal level, he got a BA in Science and Maths from Villanova. He is 69, which is considered perhaps quite young for a pope to be named. So this certainly is something that many people were not expecting.
Fox's Benjamin Hall in Vatican City. The new pope was brought to the Vatican by Francis in 2023, though, to lead the Office of Bishops. Before that, a missionary, spending years in Peru. He is also a Peruvian citizen. A plan to overhaul the U.S. air traffic control system unveiled by Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who says President Trump supports the effort to address critical infrastructure.
4 areas will be the focus: communication, surveillance, automation, and some rebuilding of facilities. But the bulk is technology.
New telecom, new fiber throughout the system. We're going to have brand new radios in our towers.
Recent communication failures at Newark, New Jersey's airport highlight that need. 6 new air traffic control centers and runway sensors will be among the improvements that Duffy wants done in 3 to 4 years.
Fox's Gernal Scott, no price tag yet. A shakeup at FEMA. The acting director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Cameron Hamilton, is ousted by Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem a day after telling lawmakers he does not support eliminating the agency. America is listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. Ethos.com/today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
72 with changeable skies going through our Thursday afternoon. Still expect some scattered showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder tonight. Partly to mostly cloudy. It's dry. 50 for the overnight low. Friday, gorgeous though. A little cool for this time of year. Sunny skies and 70, 73 and sunny Saturday, 78 and sunny for Mom's Day on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. Not sure if you've noticed, but the storms seem to be especially bad this spring. If you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not going to be damaged like in the 314-day storm. So we do roofing, siding, gutters, fences. We're always going to be the middle bid. We're never going to cut corners. We're never going to take advantage of you. Call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NordicuSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. A new pope has been selected, Pope Leo the 14th. That is the name that the new pope, a man from Chicago, Illinois, the first American pope selected. If you missed it, we talked with Fred Bottomer, who gave us a really good, well-rounded understanding of what this new pope might mean for the Catholic Church and kind of leading up to this moment. We talked with him at 12:45. You can check out the Annie Fry Show podcast. If you'd like to hear that, anniefryshow.com/podcast. You can also follow us on the Odyssey app at 97.1 FM Talk. Just find us there. The Annie Fry Show is listed as well, and you can check that out. Big day for Catholics across the world. Of course, it's an important point in Catholic history. We're asking you on our Annie Fry YouTube channel if you're Catholic. We've got 300 votes right now on the poll. Great to see a strong turnout there. So let us know, are you Catholic? Yes or no? In the room, we are not Catholic. We are all Christians. Mm-hmm. But to acknowledge the Catholic as a very important moment. A lot of you out there listening are, and I think it's an incredible day for people to see the new direction that the Catholic Church will be heading in. So come weigh in. Let us know what you think about the Pope as well by leaving your comments on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Let's see here. I want to read some of these comments here. Erica said, no, I'm not Catholic or even Christian, but I can respect that a lot of people are interested in finding out who the new Pope will be. Joe said, yes, but I haven't renewed my membership in 20 years. Jack said, I am Catholic and attend Mass 4 to 5 times a week. So there's quite a wide variety of people certainly listening. Janine says, no, I'm Lutheran like Annie. Lutherans unite today, whatever. So Bobo says, born, raised, and proud Lutheran. A lot of people listening, of course, Lutheran. They know that I'm Lutheran. Rick said, I was baptized Catholic, still consider myself such. Wish I did a better job of living it sometimes. I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. So thank you for listening. We want to know what you think about the selection of the Pope. Is there anything about this story, Ryan, that really sticks out to you? Obviously, the first American Pope. I don't honestly just personally know enough about what was at stake with each individual candidate to have a well-formed opinion. I'll be interested to see their influence on the world politically, of course, and socially.
The white smoke came at about 11:05-ish, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so Harris Faulkner was on Fox, and she was on this show yesterday. And she was kind of narrating what was going on because it was so sudden that they were actually in the middle of playing a clip from Joe Biden on The View. And they went, wait a second. And they went live to the Vatican.
That's quite a transition.
It was major. So I happened to have the TV on and the volume on at the time, which I don't usually, and went, whoa, wow, that's happening. So we had to run in here and cover it live. Listening to Harris Faulkner, though, she said some things that I thought she did a really good job. And one of the things she said is that she said, I'm not a Catholic, but this is such a big deal for such a large portion of the body of Christ in the world. And so as somebody who isn't really directly affected by the selection of a new pope, maybe indirectly, it's still important to acknowledge as brothers and sisters in Christ that this is a big deal for 1.4 billion people in the Roman Catholic Church. And that it's important to acknowledge and pray the best. That's what she said, too, is that we've all just been praying the best here because the Pope is such an internationally known figure for so many Christians, Catholics, that we all just kind of hold hands together today and say, all right, let's go forward.
Brad, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that every time that there is a new Pope selected, there's something historic about it. I'm a Christian. I go to a Free Will Baptist church, but growing up, I was raised Catholic. big portion of my family is still Catholic. And the things that I like, the Pope is a historical figure in the sense that they can actually change and move the way the world works. Pope John Paul II was instrumental in fighting communism. I mean, his visit to I think it was Poland against the wishes of the communist government there to show up and then, listen to the people when he was showing up screaming or chanting, "We want God, we want God," whenever he went into and faced head on a blatantly atheistic regime. He was instrumental. And then you had Ronald Reagan come alongside him. And then next thing you know, the fall of the Soviet Union happens. So the Pope is a historical figure in that sense. My hope and prayer for the Catholic Pope, the new Pope now, is that he will guide his church in the ways that the scriptures teach, guide his people in those directions, bring Christ to prominence, that sort of thing. Outside of that, I don't really know what else to expect from a Pope.
FR says, yes, Catholic. An American Pope surprises me. Never thought I'd see it. Kate said the same thing. Yes, Catholic. And it seems as though a lot of those Catholics who are following us, at least, are surprised, not necessarily offering us a positive or a negative on it, but just surprised to see an American Pope being selected. Fred Baudemer mentioned in the beginning of the show, 12:45 when he was in here, that there was some thought that maybe the finances of the church could be put in better order if an American was involved. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was something to hear.
That's an interesting take on it, and we'll definitely see what happens next. So that is the big news of the day. Of course, we also spoke at 1:25 with Taylor Riggs. She's the co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business, talking about the announced trade deal with the United Kingdom. That was supposed to be a big story. It is a big story. It kind of got scooped by, I don't know if a new pope is really a once in a lifetime thing, but maybe a few times in a lifetime. We've had our fair share, really, for being in our mid 40s to see as many popes as we've seen. But there is a big trade deal that was announced today. Is it the biggest trade deal that could be announced? No, but an important news story there we covered with Taylor Riggs earlier. And I think that the only appropriate thing for us to do here on the Annie Fry Show, as Ryan was articulating how Outnumbered was handling this before, is to transition from the Pope to Joe Biden.
Thank you.
You okay with that?
Well, that's what they did.
On The View? Let's listen.
Mr. President, you had previously said that you thought that you would have won. Since then, Donald Trump won all the battleground states and made inroads with almost every major demographic, from working class voters to Hispanic men to Black men. Knowing what you know now, do you think you would have beat him?
Yeah, he still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. A lot of people didn't show up. Number one. Number two, they're very close in those toss-up states. It was it wasn't a slam dunk, and so look, every time I've been on the show, which I've been fortunate to be on more than once. Thanks for having me. Is that we talk? You guys don't focus on as much, and I think it's good on polling numbers. But let me put it this way: he's had the worst 100 days any president's ever had.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. Says you. Joe Biden is touting his 7 million more votes that he got during COVID as a benchmark towards him being able to beat Donald Trump should he had stayed on the ticket. Then why didn't you stay on the ticket, bro?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Mr. President, bro.
I like also that he goes, I know you guys don't focus on polls much. And at the beginning of the clip, who was that speaking? I don't know her name.
Alyssa Farah.
Okay. She mentions multiple demographics and saying you made major inroads with all of them. All patently false. He lost voter share with, I think, every single one of those groups. So you're right about that, Mr. Biden. They do not focus on polls or numbers much on that show.
Well, they do if they can contort them to fit the context that they've predetermined, which is not unlike both sides of the aisle. Media coverage will find a poll, which is why I hate them, is that you can be very selective when it comes to polling and then predetermine, what your outcome is. You just got to figure out the statistics to get you there. And both sides of the aisle can do that. Certainly The View is certainly capable and willing to do so. Here's another clip from this hit. And I'll just tell you as a viewer, as a listener of Joe Biden on here, gosh, he just sounds so old. I've noticed Donald Trump's voice has less fullness to it. He sounds older, but he does not sound incapable or incompetent. Joe Biden, to me, does not present himself. He didn't as a president. Not a single day in office did I feel like Joe Biden was in command. And it just shows to me right now the deterioration has continued.
But then election night came, and it was like 2016 all over again. Yeah. So why do you think the vice president lost, and were you surprised?
No. I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. Right. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is a woman. She's this. She's that. I mean, it really. I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country and a woman of mixed race.
Yeah.
And they played that to a fairly well. In addition to that,
so when you listen to him talking about why Kamala Harris lost, make no mistake about what former President Joe Biden is saying there. He's trying to tell you that the Trump campaign tried to play the racist card or tried to be sexist about how they were going to win this election. There is no way that can be accurate and a true statement without Joe Biden calling the majority of American voters sexist and racist. When Joe Biden says that Kamala Harris lost the race because she's a female and because she is a person of color, he is saying that you, the American people, are too sexist and too racist to vote for somebody who is not a white man. So then my next question is, if you actually feel this way about the American people, and if you really want to retain power, A, why doesn't the old white fart still continue to run for office? And secondly, why didn't you find somebody else if that's what it took to win? If you really believe Joe Biden, that the American people are that sexist and that racist, that they wouldn't take a completely qualified, more qualified candidate than Donald Trump and make that woman of color president, if you knew that the American people were that sexist and racist, why did you run someone who would never have been able to, no matter how qualified she was, never been able to win in a country so sexist and racist? Why does the Democrat Party not just run white men? If they truly believe that the American people are that sexist and racist, or possibly could you have found a more qualified person who might have been a person of color, who might have been a woman? Maybe Kamala Harris was a terrible candidate. People like to talk about she only had 100 days to run her campaign. Folks, if she'd had 200 days, people would have decided 100 days sooner that they didn't like her, and the rest of it would have been trudging through the muck and the ire to just try to get to the end of it. Every day that Kamala Harris was exposed to the American people, people were more sure that she was not the right person. She's a terrible candidate. And it's not because she's a woman. It's not because she's a person of color. It's because she stands for absolutely nothing. She's vacant. She is pre-programmable, and the software that's running the program ain't so great. She was a terrible, terrible candidate. And the Democrat Party is willing to call the majority of America sexist and racist, and then blame what they said there. It's, it's a fact that this is the worst 100-day start of any presidency. It's not a fact. That is your complete and total opinion, of which I completely and totally disagree with it. In my lifetime, this is the most impressive first 100 days I've ever been able to witness from a president. Because I did vote for this. As we talked with Tyrus, we voted for all of this and more. We want more of this. And just because you're on the other side of the aisle and you can't understand that there are people who don't want to live in the identity politics world that you have forced upon people. And you know what the real truth about the American people is? To the ladies of The View, to the former president of the United States, to the former first lady who I think was sitting at the table right there. Do you know what the real truth of the American people is? The ones that you labeled majority racist, the majority sexist. Do you want to know what the real truth of the American people is? They've been so nice that they have tolerated your DEI nonsense for so long that they kept quiet because they didn't want to upset people. They don't want to offend people. People who are different than them, they don't want to change their lives. They don't want to rule their lives. They don't want to force their opinions down other people's throats. So the kind people of the United States of America have kept their mouth quiet for so long because your side of the aisle has been so forceful and so aggressive, so willing to cancel anybody who doesn't toe the exact line that the DEI far left Democrat Party wants them to toe. They've been quiet for so long that it took a Donald Trump to orange Kool-Aid man into the room to say, we're not doing this anymore. And everybody was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. You see so much crumbling under the prioritization of some woke sort of measure that you try to sell people on fear and emotion, that we lost our country in the process. And it took a Donald Trump to walk into the room and say, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not playing your game. Just like when the Pope Trump picture got put out and he was asked by the press about it, they tried to push on him. Like, how dare you do this? He goes, are you talking about people who can't take a joke? Because the Catholics are not mad at me about this. The people who have no sense of humor, I could see why they'd be a little contorted about this, but I don't frankly care about those people. They still don't get it. And all we need is to tune into The View on any given day. Pick a random day. You're going to have to find what channel they're on and what time they're on, because I can't tell you. But you can tune into the View on any given day, and they've learned exactly nothing. And the longer that The View continues to come out here and post up Joe Biden, who's mumbling and muttering through points that make zero sense whatsoever, and talk about what he knows to be true, having the most successful presidency ever, so successful that they got so much done that he didn't need to run again. Just let him be. Let him keep going. Let him continue to call the country racist and sexist and continue to see the results that they're getting right now, because that's what's going to continue to happen. People are sick and tired of it. They're willing to roll the dice. Imagine this. Every time Donald Trump has run for office, he's gained support. How is that even possible when 92% of the media coverage of this man is as negative and baloney sausage as it is? How is it possible that in the midst of everything that they're throwing at him, he gains support? It's because America has completely repudiated the bull crap that's been shoveled at us from the people like Joe Biden and Jill Biden and the ladies of The View. We're just so sick and tired of it. And the only time we watch is when the clips are so bad that they're funny. I don't understand how they can't learn their lesson. I might have a clip of Pete Buttigieg we can play when we come back. Pete Buttigieg seems to be one of the few people who's like, I think we need to learn a lesson here. And I don't know if the Democrat Party is actually paying attention to him. But what they are doing right now on the left is banging their head into the wall, thinking the wall is going to move. I'm not getting in the way of that. Not at all. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I wanna hold you when I'm not supposed to. When I'm lying close to someone else, you're stuck.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I go back to you.
I got a message directly from Tom today of the Diamond Shop, and I want to make sure that if you haven't yet visited thediamondshop.net, that you sign up to be a VIP real fast, because Mother's Day here is right around the corner, and they have something at any price point. Any price point. You want to spend less than $100, you're going to go into the Diamond Shop and find something timeless that you are going to be able to give mom, to give your wife, maybe to your daughter, maybe it's her first Mother's Day. You want to make sure that you celebrate those wonderful women in your life with something that they are going to be able to cherish forever. Also, emeralds are the birthstone of May, and they have beautiful emeralds in stock at all price points as well. So when you go to thediamondshop.net and you sign up to be a VIP, you're going to have access to extra savings on sales that they have going on right now. Also, they have a Mother's Day sale. If you hurry up, because Mother's Day is this Sunday, of course, 40% off all in-stock jewelry, and VIPs are going to get an extra free gift while supplies last with that $100 jewelry purchase. Shop the Diamond Shop. People you can trust to sell you beautiful quality pieces, and you're going to create a relationship that's going to keep on giving back and back and back over and over and over again with birthdays, anniversaries, and Mother's Day alike. TheDiamondShop.net.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The Biz Dash returns as St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at Energizer Park, home of St. Louis City SC, for the 10th year of the Biz Dash, the ultimate office party and kickoff to summer. Thursday, May 22nd at Energizer Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
back to the Annie Fry Show. It's a little talk about the Epstein file stuff going on. We played a clip yesterday from that, didn't we?
Pam Bondi.
Saying that there, what was it, like tens of thousands of videos or something?
Yeah, she referenced tens of thousands of Epstein videos, which you have to assume is not just Jeffrey Epstein on them.
Are we going to find out anything?
Yeah.
I want names.
We
I
will.
want names.
We will. I really believe that I would almost be more concerned if they came out too fast, because they have to make all these things airtight. And that takes the cases against people. You know, I'm sure they're gathering a lot about a lot of people. And it's the same thing. If it was the other side doing it, I'd go, they're never going to do anything. If it's your side, you go, yeah, they'll probably come through. But it has been a long time. That's the problem, is that you should have had a DOJ that had already been doing all of this stuff. You just have a new DOJ. They got to get their feet under.
Were they doing stuff to cover up?
I mean, it certainly looks like it.
Especially if it was a bureaucratic kind of thing. Like the bureaucracy doesn't really have a party. It has a bureaucracy to
protect itself,
to withstand. So it can be a nonpartisan endeavor. I kind of feel like all of that type of stuff is going to be post midterm stuff. Like, I feel like we're going to find out the truth. I think in campaign season, which after the midterms get done, immediately will be thrust into presidential campaign politics. The Democrats are going to have an open primary. I mean, as much as the Democrats have an open primary about anything. And the Republicans will have to determine, does J.D. Vance get handed the keys to the kingdom and we just roll with that, or will there be a primary? A lot of that will be determined behind the scenes. And of course, J.D. Vance will have to determine that he wants it. I can't imagine being that close to being the president of the United States and saying, I'll pass. Like George Washington did the second time around. Like, to be like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I mean, it would take a great amount of restraint to do that if he didn't have to. So I can't imagine that J.D. Vance doesn't step into that. But, you know, we never know. He's got a family. He's got small kids. He might not want to do that anymore. But what would make sense to me is that the truth, I mean, the campaign promise to reveal all of that stuff, to turn all of that information over to the American people, whatever the information may be. Maybe it's way worse than we ever imagined. And I know that the American people love entertainment and, you know, they love salaciousness and sex sells and all of that stuff. And this could, you know, in our mind, this is some of the nastiest, most horrific kind of crimes that you can imagine. And right now we're imagining a lot. We have enough factual information with the Epstein, what we know so far from Epstein files or whatever, to know like what category of horridness are we dabbling in, but we don't have the details and we want those details. And it makes sense to me that while you're trying to do tariff negotiations and you're trying to, you know, maybe potentially acquire Greenland and you're trying to secure the border and deport people, that if you're doing the work to reveal truth to the American people, that might be a second half of the second term endeavor.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it before that, but we know that all the difference between this, they announced a big ring that they had broken up yesterday too. And that's great. But the difference is that these are prominent, powerful world people, whether they be entertainers or politicians or whoever. You're talking about Prince Andrew and stuff, you know. These are just some of the names you know. And she said in that press conference yesterday, they have Jeffrey Epstein on video, little ears alert here, with...
Just be careful.
Committing
crimes,
acts with children, with child pornography.
Mm-hmm.
They have this on video. Now, from what we understand, Jeffrey Epstein was the one making those videos. He kept videos of all of these things and apparently was using them to blackmail and all this stuff because that's how he stayed very relevant and very powerful. So the fact that she said that yesterday, that they have those videos, and she said some of what's on them with Jeffrey Epstein specifically, would indicate that there's a lot more to that.
Is in your mind, is the Epstein stuff, is the Venn diagram of Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy? Are those do those circles intersect at all? Are they the same circle? Are they completely different?
I think they're different. It doesn't mean they can't intersect. It just means that there were different things going on. One to me looks like it's primarily entertainers. The other one looks like it's everybody.
Powerful,
business leaders,
rich, world
anybody.
influence.
Yeah.
I almost want to know more about the Diddy stuff. And I don't know if that's the right approach, but we have photographs of very prominent people who are at these that are very relevant right now. When Donald Trump's talking about, what did he say? He was going to put 100% tariffs on non-American made movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're like,
we still don't know.
What does that mean? What if they're written here? What if they're written there and then made here? Blah, blah, blah. COVID decimated the glitz and glam of Hollywood. The push that American people had into technology and accessibility of people through COVID, because that's how we connected to everybody. And then I think the celebrities really calculated poorly. They wanted to reach into people's homes through all of those raw ways that you can with digital means. During COVID, it really took away the thing that made them interesting, which is the mystery. Oh, you're just like us? Like, care less now.
Yeah. They used to live in a bubble, and it was very difficult to get inside that bubble.
I'm still, if I see a celebrity, I saw a video the other day of Justin Bieber and his wife grocery shopping.
Oh, that's weird.
And I was like, why are you doing that?
Was it a PR stunt?
I mean, maybe, probably. I don't know. But they were walking through the like Justin Bieber was pushing the cart and whatever. Like, I imagine that they elect to do the grocery shopping for.
You have to tell their guy.
We've got this
Not
time.
today.
Yeah. In my mind, they don't do any of that stuff, but that's probably not true for the majority of celebrities, generally speaking. There are some that probably don't ever go, that they just can't go into like your Ruler Foods and put the quarter in the cart and be like, I'm gonna save money. But when you see stuff like that, that's still, to me, very interesting to see that they do things that they, put their pants on both one leg at a time like the rest of us. But the enamoring element of celebrity has been diminished so much because of social media and the frequency. You just can't escape these people any longer. That and the fact that California is a disaster area, that people don't want to be in California. They don't want to do business in California. They certainly don't shoot very many movies in California, right? There's a lot that just can happen over in Nevada. They just go across the border, and Nevada is a much more friendly place. Georgia does a ton of stuff.
Vancouver,
yeah,
New Mexico.
So, like, people are escaping. The Hollywood mystique is gone. Our children are not going to grow up thinking like, I want to see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I mean, it's just littered with trash and homeless people.
That's funny you say, because I just went there in October.
It's not.
And my son's 7 years old. He's like,
what is
I don't know what he had seen the Hollywood sign in a cartoon. So he's like, oh, I recognize that thing.
Did he care?
I mean, just he was out in California saying
say
I'm
he
in
saw
California,
it, yeah.
But
yeah,
he didn't have the same relationship to those iconic things that we would.
Yeah.
Or somebody older than us would.
So what ends up happening next in the entertainment industry? What ends up happening with the way people are influenced by culture and by pop culture? There's a lot at stake. Like, it's really open for the taking for the right people to jump into this and make something happen. And when we come back, I'm going to give you a name of somebody who has said in a prominent magazine, not Parade, that they want to be.
I don't care.
Then they want to be the next Walt Disney. Oh. And if you don't scoop.
I don't know.
You will say, like, this is, when I read this, I was like, what? This is great. So stick around. I'll give you that when we come back. Plus the results of today's YouTube live chat poll. Are you Catholic? Yes or no? Let us know what you think about the Pope as well in the YouTube live chat comments. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
TheDittamoreGroup.com is the website. Please consider hiring Tammy or any members of her amazing team that has 50 plus years of experience on it. Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha, the best in the business, to help you with your next real estate transaction. You looking to buy or are you looking to sell? You want to make sure that you work with the best in the business, the RE/MAX Alliance team at the Dittamore Group. They are the #1 team in the #1 office in the Metro East. Working with the Dittamore Group means you are going to have experience and expertise, people who are full-time job dedicated to making sure that your real estate transaction is executed flawlessly, people who are going to give you honest feedback. You need honest feedback when you're going to list your home. You do not want someone to blow smoke your way to make you feel all good, and then all of a sudden you list your house and it's not selling and it's not getting offers, it's not getting viewed. You want people who are going to position you for the greatest amount of success, and those people are at the Dittamore Group. Reach out to Tammy and her team and give yourself the confidence of a wonderful and smooth sailing real estate transaction with the Dittamore Group. Call them directly at 618-531-4652, 618-531-4652, online at thedittamore.com.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, this is my last hope. The next step is getting them in the right arch supports. Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. To see someone that is in pain, I change things for them. See how we can help you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Good afternoon. It's Mark Reardon back from Greece. Not going to lie, a little jet lag, but a lot to say after being gone for so long. We get rolling after Fox News at 3. Hang in there.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is J.D. Powers Award winner 5 years in a row and has the nation's best warranty coverage. Renewal by Andersen. That's who. Take advantage of our great May sale. $279 off every window and $729 off every entry door or patio door with 0 payments and 0 interest for 18 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
It's the perfect day to ask this question. Are you Catholic? That's the YouTube live chat poll. Let us know. It's a simple yes or no. We know that there's a complicated relationship some of you have, but it's a yes or no. Let us know. We'll give you the results of this poll in just a couple minutes at the end of this segment. 2:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
So Esquire magazine did a cover story on a gentleman who said that he wants to essentially be the next Walt Disney. He said, now Disney is run by a guy that's just a businessman. Well, that guy doesn't care about the audience. Would you say that that's, at least the way Disney is going right now, that's a fair judgment?
That's 100% the way I would look at that. Yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
Not story, not audience.
There's no real concern for experience beyond if I can get people to do that experience so that they'll pay me for the whole thing. Movies, parks, everything.
Nate Bargatze is, I told you.
Oh.
Nate Bargatze, this is Variety wrote a piece on this Esquire cover story that they did on Nate Bargatze. The Variety piece says Nate Bargatze graces the latest digital cover of Esquire magazine, where he speaks openly about his aspiration to become a new kind of Walt Disney figure for the everyman. The magazine asked the comedian for his inspirations. And are you a Nate Bargatze fan?
Yeah.
Are you, Brad?
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic and so refreshing in the world we live in right now. He is hilarious, first and foremost, because none of the rest of the stuff matters, at least on an entertainment level, if he's not hilarious. His SNL skit as George Washington, where he's listing all the American things that we're going to do in this country, is so funny. And it stands up. It's funny every time you watch it. Go check it out on YouTube. Asked for his inspirations, he listed comics like Jerry Seinfeld, Judd Apatow, and Adam Sandler alongside Disney. And Variety followed up and asked him why the latter. And he said, because Disney cared about his customers. The comedian seems to think the company has not held on to that mission. How interesting that you would have Nate Bargatze, who is a wonderful and very successful entertainer, calling out the company Disney for, in my opinion, 100% the right reasons, for completely straying away from the mission that was set out originally by the namesake in Walt Disney. Bargatze said, now Disney is run by a guy that's just a businessman. Well, that guy doesn't care about his audience. Bargatze went on to say he stressed that he cares about his audience because, quote, none of this happens without them. As a stand-up comedian, this was interesting to me. The Variety said this, as his stand-up comedy career winds down.
What?
And you're sitting here thinking, what do you mean winds down? This guy's just getting started. Like when it comes, because he's got a podcast, is it called Nateland? I think the podcast is called Nateland. But he's got a podcast. He's got a very successful tour. Like, if you look at the dates on his tour, it's 4 columns of cities, and he's doing 2 and 3 shows in some of these cities. People want to see Nate Bargatze. I want to see him for sure. I couldn't go the last time he was here. But Variety says as his stand-up comedy career winds down, he's planning to only do 1 or 2 more specials. Bargatze is laying the foundation to build a Disney-like empire with movies and TV shows, merchandising, books, podcasts, and even a theme park in Nashville called Nateland that would be built on the site of the former Opryland theme park.
Is this real?
Variety.
What?
I know.
Nateland.
He just released a book too called Big Dumb Eyes.
Yes. Which I think is something that a critic said one time about him. And he's like, I'm going to monetize that. I appreciate that. Bargatze said, I'll be honest with you. I bet we're closer than people think, but it's still a little bit of a ways off. So he has this vision to entertain people beyond, of course, his delivery and his style of comedy. It really has to start with a vision, which is absolutely what Walt Disney, it all started with the mouse. And if you know the story about Walt Disney, he drew Mickey Mouse, but then he lost the rights to it. And then so he had to draw a new Mickey Mouse. And that's the Mickey Mouse that honestly just came up on copyright is now. But there are many more iterations that are not available to the public. Here, just real quick before I get your reaction to this. What kind of TV will he start making himself? Don't expect prestige. That's what Variety says. Bargatze said, I did not watch Succession. I know it's the greatest show to ever to exist. I'm not a moron. Everybody understands it's the greatest show in the world. I want to watch it. This has nothing to do with the show, but no one watched it in the grand scheme of things. Everybody has lives. Everybody has kids. Everybody has stuff to go do. They don't want to sit and worship your art.
Dang, this is awesome.
I know. There's got to be a balance of appreciating Succession and appreciating King of Queens. Those worlds have to exist together. Now you have too many Successions. There's nothing that's a palate cleanser. That is so spot on. We grew up with palate cleansers. And then there was an ER thrown in there, or, at the time it was Friends, but Friends, you could go palate cleanser or whatever at the same time. There were nighttime shows. I remember my parents watching Knots Landing. There were things I wasn't allowed in the room. There are things that were big dramas that were produced in prime time and so on and so forth. But we had the palate cleansers. There's no palate cleanser. And when he says that people aren't sitting around waiting to worship your art, thank you. Because that's so true. It's so true.
It's very true.
You've got a foot in this industry. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, listen, I'm going to talk to camera. Nate, I'm talking to you.
He's
Nate.
not going to hire you. Stop it.
I don't want you to hire me. I want you to build your thing.
So if Nate Bargatze has a job for you, you don't want it.
I do want it. Yeah, I'll take it.
It'd sure be cool.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. I'll
take
do
one,
it.
take all.
Nate, build this. Do exactly what you just told Variety that you're going to do. Take 10 years, 20 years, build this thing. Make it so successful that people go, I can't believe this started in 2025 from a stand-up comedian. Then, once you've gotten to that point, do not make your company go public. Keep it as a private company, because you will become beholden to people who do not care about the product anymore.
And turn into Bob Iger?
And turn it into what Disney is now. Just don't go public. Do all the things that you said you were going to do, though.
I wonder if Elon Musk wants to invest. I really want Elon Musk to buy Disney.
I do too.
I think that would be amazing.
I think heads would pop.
I think people would be excited.
We're really on the edge of entertainment changing in big, big ways. I'm not just saying this because
it has to.
The technology's changing. The audiences are changing. The way people consume media is changing. We all know that. Trump just pulled a bunch of money from a bunch of NGOs that were funding news. So that's going to be changing. But this is a great if you can be that Walt Disney of this moment. I mean, Nate Bargatze, if you got the business acumen to do that, my gosh, I think we all would love to see that.
I mean, people are like Nate Bargatze, but I'm like, why wouldn't it be Nate Bargatze? All you really need to do is have a vision and be able to persuade people to believe in that vision.
I just love that he's thinking way beyond his career as a stand-up comedian. And there are not a lot of entertainers that make that jump. Mm-hmm. Most of them, if you get that successful, you do have a hand in production somewhere because your name alone can get things made. But that doesn't mean that Tom Cruise does it. Tom Cruise is in charge of his movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And he funds them.
He makes the phone calls.
He produces them. He does the whole thing.
But most entertainers aren't really willing to be that down in the muck. And if Nate Bargatze, I wouldn't have expected that, but if he's willing to do it, that would be awesome.
I just posted on X at Annie Fry Show. Come follow us on the on the platform there. I just tweeted out the actual Esquire article, which I haven't read the whole thing. I read the Variety article on the Esquire article and just saw that and thought to myself, when you're willing to say as an entertainer that the people you're entertaining aren't just sitting around waiting for you to make magic again. Yeah, that's what's missing right now. I mean, the going back to like talking about Hollywood and what entertainment has now come to, where everything is the people who are mystifyingly inaccessible celebrity. They're way too accessible. We know way too much about them. There's no mystery to it anymore. And there's this misconception that everything about them, we just want more. Can you please give us more? And the answer is no. Tell us a great story.
Earn my attention next time too.
Make me laugh, make me cry, make me feel, make me want to come back for more, make me want to celebrate something that's bigger than you, that you create for the people and what they want. Pay attention to the people. Stop shoving things down our throat, telling us what we need to learn from sitting in this movie or watching this television show, like it's some sort of virtuistic exercise that we are so grateful that you have provided for us. Barf. Nate Bargatze, big dumb eyes for the win. Ethan, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Do I need to stall? I don't have much time.
Nope, I'm good to go.
All right, let us know what the results of the poll are.
Even though I accidentally did click yes on the I'm Catholic because I just had to click something to get the results.
Oh, these are not even accurate now.
357 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Are you Catholic? Yes or no? About 62% say they are. 62% say no, I'm sorry, and then 38% say yes.
Well, to all of those who are acknowledging this moment within the Catholic family, a new pope, and you're going to have it on the right spot here on 97.1 FM Talk, because Mark Reardon is back, and he picks it up from here.
So beat the drum.
Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or pay the bills. Prices are up. Your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Gold, an asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com today to learn more. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan